then fly to home. But if you wanna travel, then go alone. Yeah, what's the point in us if I never know? Yeah, if you're gonna leave, I'ma let you go. I'm tired of the pain. Go away. I'm tired of yesterday. I fell where my demons dwell. My own little nightmare, I call it hell. Oh well, it's time to get back up. Climbing and climbing, I'm done with this ride, is what I tell myself, so I could feel something else. Yeah, I guess I had my bad days, but it doesn't mean I lost my style. Darling, where were you when my heart was on the ground? I thought time would prove that you would stick around. I guess time stands still, a king without his crown. Now I'm breaking and you're faking, girl. You never made a sound. Oh, wait, I'm tired of the pain.
5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Dire team pick. Radiant team pick.
Keeper of the light.
Game one of T1 versus Beastcoast coming at you right now here at ESL One Fall Bootcamp Edition, powered by Intel, and we got elimination on the line of this best of 3. So there's a lot to play for here. I mean, apart from getting eliminated, I think there's going to be a lot of pride on the line for this one as well, because both of these teams have enormous fan bases with ginormous, gigantic expectations for these teams. So we're going to see which one of these two teams will make it further. We're in the draft. We got the Keeper of the Light banned on the side of T1, whose first pick in this one. Also, T1 did choose their side Dire after Beastcoast chose second pick. We got the Lina band, Bad band, Nyx band, Omni Knight band.
I like the Bat ban because you mentioned on the pre-show the idea of T1 sees other teams, they look at their development and then they kind of like take it in and improve on it. And like Bat was that example where Tundra played it early in the day, dominated, and then suddenly they're looking at Bat themselves, and it wasn't like the cleanest of Bat games, but like the concept of Bat Rider with T1, again, exceptional. So
also, they have a really great Bat player actually in Carl. He loves that hero, plays it really well, so it's very good. I just wanted to talk a little bit about pick order because we've talked about how second pick is so much stronger, but I think this pick can have its merits if you do snatch up a hero like Coddle, who's just extremely desired right now, right?
The thing with like drafting, and when you go back in time, it's like the idea of if you're first pick and there's only 2 bans available, you're able to decide exactly what you're going to get. Like when the meta gets kind of figured out and you know there's maybe 3, 4, 5 very good heroes, there's not enough bans for everything. So as long as you have a nice strategy around it, you're always going to be able to get at least one kind of comfort hero. And like you mentioned, in this scenario, it's the Keeper of Light. They pair it with the Tide Hunter. Again, just like Tundra did.
But not only do Beastcoast have second pick, they also pick 2 extremely flex heroes for them in Snapfire and Magnus. Especially Snapfire, they've historically been known to play it mid on Chrysalis too. So in theory, this hero could be a 4, 5, or a 2. And the same goes for Magnus. Can be a 3, can be a 4, can be a 5, can be a 1, can even be a 2. Magnus can play in all lanes.
Yeah, he can. Truly exceptional hero.
Although I don't think he's that great as a 4 or 5 anymore. I do have to say it. I'm not a fan of
But that's the best Dota, right? When you think it's not that great and then somehow they do it. But again, let's not get carried away here.
Back to T1's opener.
That's the good part.
The T1 opener, right? So Coddle Tide is a lane we've seen throughout this tournament a lot. It's very effective. The insane amount of damage with a level 1 Illuminate and a Gush is ridiculous. You can pretty much kill a hero. Well, not kill, but you'll get them really low. Also, Coddle does love to stack the triangle for his cute little Tide Hunter. Does that very well. And we can just expect a lot of damage and a lot of farming out of this lane. So they'll scale well until all points of the game.
The key thing here is for Coddle is T1's run at mid, they run at 4 as well. The main thing, if it is that 4 role, we saw how Coddle can also actually be a disadvantage for your team when Alliance played it with their Mars, because Mars went from being a good offlaner to a blink, Yules, and nothing else. Tide as a hero, he doesn't really need to have that same item impact. So if it does become Coddle being the core, Tide's always going to have a nice game. He's going to buy that blink. He's innately be tanky. He can farm early on. So it's a nicer way to approach the flexibility of Coddle.
That's actually a very good point. But also, Tide as an offlaner, I see him in these like 5 mana drafts, right? He builds these auras and he's like really strong and can frontline really early and help take early towers, right?
We're phrasing it wrong. It's the anti-crazy hero.
The anti-crazy.
Think of all the offlaners, Effie. What other offlaner has anti-crazy as one of his, main
this
concepts?
Is the main anti-crazy.
Exactly.
So this is the best one for that, for sure. But I do like him more as a core in that regard because he does need to build the items that his team can play behind. But definitely the other way around could happen.
And just to be very clear, we had an interview with T1 on the pre-show, and he was mentioning that Beastcoast plays like they are crazy. Or like crazy play style. So we're not randomly using this word for no reason. We're linking it to an interview that you may not have seen.
Yes, people sometimes tune in late.
Thank you. I just wanted to preface that. Yeah.
IoT is right. They might think we're
calling
good on the dumber side.
Maybe.
So this Pangolier pick, really good. 2 suits East Coast's playstyle so well. Between this Snap and this Pango and even this Magnus on the skewer, they're going to have so much skirmishing and early fighting potential. And the Snap really covers the damage aspect of what Pango really lacks. So I like the synergy there.
They block pick, I think, putting it bluntly, right? Like when you see heroes like Mag, Snap, and then Pango, right? T1, if you don't pick up this Void, it is going to be quite a nice, relaxing pick for Beastcoast. So then they just go Void Phoenix themselves. Their lineup is so anti-fight. It's nice.
Right. So not only do they block pick the Void, they buff their team fight insanely with the Chrono and the Time Dilation, which is actually his best spell right now, in my opinion. And combined with the Phoenix Egg, this is such a classic combination, right? You Supernova on top of the egg, no one can touch it, and you're guaranteed to win a fight if you cast it correctly. On top of that, there's the added fear of a Ravage. So T1 have overwhelming team fight right now, even though Beastcoast do it well. The thing about Beastcoast, though, is they are equipped to fight more than T1 are, because T1 do have the cooldown disadvantage.
And the best thing is linking it to another interview. Again, I'm trying to entice you to watch the pre-show, guys. Beastcoast K1, he did mention that Wraith King, in his opinion, is in the bin. The reason why, the cooldown on his ultimate at level 3 is 20 seconds longer. This would be, if this was a Beastcoast game where Wraith King was, comfortable for them, they'd probably just go for a casual Wraith King.
That's true.
Plays into the big team fight, gives them that timing. But again, the interview stated he hates the hero right now.
We've seen, I think, a few Wraith Kings, but I think it's always been Tundra. I think they're the only ones that are there to pick it sometimes, but only as very last pick.
Right. K1 might have an issue with the hero, but I do see it being a very good pick here. So I hope that he can put his grudge towards Iceberg aside and perhaps bust it time. But outside of that, I don't really think Magnus and Wraith King are the two most synergetic heroes together, just because I don't really typically see Wraith King as an empower core.
They're just looking for, like, T1, when you have these heroes, they're not making moves around the map, right? They're going to be pushing out lanes with Kotal, farming up, making their own play, and that's why Beastcoast, they can pretty much, they can dictate the fights, and they go for a slug. Ooh, okay.
So this is a good Slark game, just because he can leash Void, right? And he also lanes quite well, not versus Kotal as well, Kotal Tide, but he lanes quite well versus Tide, and he can dispel the Phoenix Fire Spirits and kill the egg. It's just that on the flip side, Void is a pretty good hero against Slark, right? He can catch him out and kill him, and he hates playing versus time dilation if he doesn't get his Dark Pact off. So this is like a 50-50 Slark game for me, where it really could go ways depending on the fights that they take and if they can push their advantage with it.
Like
Sorry?
I was going to say, just like right now for T1, like Void is the counter to Slug, but because there isn't that innate damage and it's only team fight T1's using, it's not as if it's like Void with a Lesh or a Snapfire, that kind of clean way to kill a hero. And that's why Beastcoast do pick the Slug, because they're going to be skirmishing, taking all these fights. They bait out a key chrono, suddenly the fight's very easy. And for T1, they need that low cooldown style of magic damage dealer to actually take these earlier fights.
And Slark is a really great backline hunter, which is what you need when you're playing versus Kotal. So we can expect him to build some sort of item, perhaps the new Silver Edge, to go on this Kotal. Also, when it comes to Empower Cores, Slark's one of the better ones because you'll never have to worry about him falling behind, and his farm speed is that much accelerated with Magnus. So the thing about T1's lineup is if you're a Void, the essence of Void lineups is to always have lanes pushed out, right? So you can actually make some chrono plays, and Kotal fits that bill very well, right? So I can see T1 picking and choosing their battles so long as their last pick here is.
So I want to see the Kotal mid. Like, I think, like, literally what I described for, like, magic damage, I want to see the Kotal mid, because then you get to push out lanes quickly, you can go for, like, the Dagon build that we saw 9 do, and that's all the damage you need. If Slark's out of position, doesn't get his ultimate off, he's going to be a dead little fish.
We've seen Carl play it before, and it seems like Beastcoast is on point with, on line with your train of thought with banning out the Shadow Demon, because if Kotal is mid, we will probably see White Monk Phoenix, and we look for a Zephyr hero.
They could also cover their bases. But I really like the Shadow Demon ban because he is excellent save versus RP and excellent save versus Slark leash, right? So these are two things that this hero counters quite well. So getting that out of the way.
You can't dispel the poison as well, right, in lane. So it's like, well, you mentioned the saves and then also the laning phase. Like, Slark needs to have that nice entry to lane where he's not bullied by the 4 position. Because again, into Tide, he's chill, but whatever that 4 is, if it's like some Lina, it's banned out, some Kotal, might be mid. Like, they need to make sure that Slark has a nice time. He needs to have like a 1-item advantage. This is like a Carl thing here. 1-item advantage and then run through the map. But T1 is the one to pick here. What are the 4 positions left?
I would like to see Nurse Spirit. I'm just saying.
Disruptor.
They go for Disruptor.
I'm so sad. No Earth Spirit, but Disruptor is a very good hero here, right? For many reasons. The number one being he is catch for Slark. Disruptor excels at glimpsing him back into kinetic field and static storm and killing him. It's typically something he's always done well, but he also dies to Slark if he plays from behind. We've talked about this before. But also, Disruptor static storm is instant, right? So it's very good counter initiate versus RP, and it stops the skewer back because you can cast it right on top of the Magnus, and yeah, it works fine here, and it gives them out of the fight. The cooldowns just feel way too long. Like, that's my opinion right now.
No, exactly. Like T1, all of their heroes, other than probably Kotal, are locked into, do I have my ult up? Do I not have my ult up? And you see Beastcoast, to pick up this Legion, he can just go for an early pipe to mitigate all this early magic damage, gets a blink, and then they're going to be playing together, jumping the back lane. So I like there's a big disparity where Beastcoast, decent lanes, play it strong, run over your opponent, or T1, play it disciplined, give up some early towers,
pick and choose your battles.
Pick and choose a fight, take a big Roshan fight. Like, it's exciting. There's going to be early v late.
So T1 have to survive this early aim skirmishing power of Beastcoast, and if they play into it and feed it, it's going to be way too hard with their long cooldowns. They'll just be stuck on the map for a very long time. But if they can dodge correctly and take the good fights, they can win this. But Beastcoast, this is what they love to do.
Yep, they're gonna run at T1.
Keeper light though, like everything we've said is a concern for T1. Keeper light kind of answers, right? He's the hero with a bajillion move speed, running around the map, pushing out every lane, Dagoning anything that moves. So I think Carl, he's the one going to be carrying his team through. I think I prefer T1's draft.
You just like to keep with the line.
I do.
Simple. I mean, with that, you know, it's a simple, executable lineup. But I do think that indeed Beastcoast, They have what it takes if they continuously run at T1. And you know what that means? That means it should be an exciting game one here, regardless of who is going to take it. We're going to enjoy it all the more together with our commentary duo of Sunsfan and Kyle.
Thank you, Sheever. Very kind words. Sunsfan here with Mr. Kyle. Why do you always cringe when I do my intros? These are prepared intros. I don't make them up on the spot. I write them down and memorize them. They're very difficult to execute, Kyle.
Yes, well, you certainly make it look difficult, Suns fan.
Thank you.
Glad to be here. Happy to be seated as we witness an excellent game. Now that all the European teams are gone, we can actually get to the high tier Dota too. So, T1 Beastcoast elimination. Love the draft.
Dota's Pro technically kind of European, right? It's CIS. It's kind of intermingled.
Okay, sorry.
Right?
Europe West teams.
Okay.
Are all gone.
US. Got it.
But this draft, there's a lot to. Love the draft.
Dota's Pro technically kind of European, right? It's CIS. It's kind of intermingled.
Okay, sorry.
Right?
Europe West teams.
Okay.
Are all gone.
US. Got it.
But this draft, there's a lot to break down on both sides. I'm a big fan of what Beastcoast has answered the T1 lineup with, who also have a lot of elements that I really like. I think Disruptor, the new Q change, makes this hero way more valuable in lane. The slow per strike now goes from a 0.1 static, like slow per bump, to 0.2, 0.3, 0.4 as you level it up. So I actually think at least 2, but preferably 3 points in your Q by level 5. You're an incredible. It's so much damage. You buy a bunch of mangoes in your harass. In addition, it's very good as like an answer to Slark. Last pick, Legion Commander, though. You talk about your, did you do shard rankings yet?
I was going to do it after this event. I was waiting for the new patch.
Okay. Legion Commanders is top 10.
Yeah,
quite possibly
100%.
top 5.
Yeah.
You get the lower cooldown on your press the attack, and it also provides BKB for 1.75. You can see it right there. It's so good with Slark, and it answers a lot of what you might have been concerned about because, you know, let's say Slark gets caught in an Aghanim Static Storm. He gets press the attack. He's now BKB. He walks out of it. Uses his own BKB. In addition, you have hard lockdown for heroes like Void and Phoenix and Coddle that are really annoying to deal with. But the cleanse factor with Slark is super valuable.
Yeah, it's not exactly the same, but kind of similar to having like an Omni Knight, right? Except in this case, it's an off lane. Obviously, Omni Knight doesn't give you the actual dispel anymore, or not the dispel, the BKB aspect, but similar idea. But it is an off lane LC, which I'm going to try not to go off on my tangents here, but the hero's literally picked for press the attack. That just bothers me for some reason. Wish it was more, around duel these days.
It is, and that's why it's nice to pick it with a Magnus as well, because you're not as needed. You can go that pipe like T-Gov asked for. You could be the aura buyer, but you're not going to just be useless. And that's the problem with LCs. Like, typically, you'll see it just become a support.
Yeah.
20, 30 minutes into the game. But I don't think that's a bad thing when you already have Magnus and Slark as your primary damage dealers. And the 5-position Pango is actually a really smart pick against a hero like Coddle. You look at the T1 lineup. If they don't chrono the rolling Pango, the 5 position, he's just going to gun straight for this Coddle. And Carl, I think, is going to be the man to watch. We've seen this exact matchup go the Coddle's way, but I think that's typically just because you just out farm. Purge did a breakdown watching 9 lane against a mag. You just farm easy camps and out GPM.
Yeah, it just feels like both heroes pretty much farm away. They're not going to really kill each other necessarily unless somebody makes a huge misstep. But, all right, what are your thoughts on Coddle as a mid-hero like in this patch? Obviously, just farms the crap out of the map as a whole, but it's not the most typical mid. It doesn't have a lot of mobility. It is fast on his camel.
I think it is very telling of the change in the way that professional players understand Dota, how they draft and what they prioritize. Right now, the ability to push waves and farm the map efficiently is huge. We've had a lot more emphasis on like the macro element of Dota 2. So, end of the day, Coddle is going to farm a hell of a lot faster than almost any other hero. You can reduce cooldowns on your allies, which is going to be good conceptually because no other hero can replicate this. And find a way to make that work in your draft, right? The high damage helps. The fact that 3 nulls mean you immediately kill a creep wave from 100 to 0 is pretty nice.
Okay, tell me this thing, because this is the one thing I don't fully understand yet. When you pick Coddle, what makes you want to play at 1 as opposed to a 3 or even a 4, which still get a lot of farm in these games, right?
I think it's kind of complicated if you don't actually hear the team comms. It'll come down to who prefers it in a lot of ways, but it's also about crafting a lineup around it. So in this game, you have Tide and Void. you want this Coddle to be mid because he's going to provide a ton of damage without these big team fight controlling spells. You already have the catch, right? You need a hero that actually shoves waves because neither Void nor Tide have a ton of lane shove. Tide would prefer to just kind of chill by the Ancients. Void really slow until he comes online.
Okay. Yeah, so kind of like, it's almost like a Lina type, right? Just shove the waves early on, has burst damage, but a little bit different gameplay. Obviously gives you a lot different team fight in the mid game if you go for like an Aghanim Scepter or something like that. But we'll see what happens.
That's the thing, you can kind of buy whatever you want, right? But at the end of the day, it's just lane shove and global mobility. Like Coddle pops ult, blasts one wave, TP's next to bottom, and now he's in a team fight, but your top lane is 100% pushed into tower. It's just really nice to have.
So what constitutes a Dagon game? Because earlier in the tournament, we're seeing everybody do that, and lately, not so much.
Situational. The game that 9 revealed the mid Coddle, if I recall correctly, he was like massively ahead. So, you know, do you remember the days when 4-position Furion or mid Furion would go no boots into Rush Dagon?
Is that when he goes into the jungle and just cliff jungles? Is that what they call it? The good old days, how do they put it? It was classic. Legion's one of those heroes as well, of course. Really do miss those days.
Big fan of the build here on Whisper. I've been standing the press the attack for years. A lot of people have overwhelming odds. The move speed does not increase based on extra levels. You just want a point at some point, but press the attack means you trade incredibly, really do much because time dilation removed.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely a big deal for sure. All right, so this is, of course, if you're just joining us, the lower bracket, T1 versus Beastcoast best of 3. Winner of this will face off PSG LGD, which obviously playing with Zhao 8 as their mid, but it's not like he's played poorly, but obviously just doesn't feel like the same team that we're used to seeing. Is Whisper and company looking towards Whitemon here. Could be enough damage. Indeed it is with that Scatter Blast. Whisper actually gets credit for that one.
That's huge.
So first blood for Beastcoast.
A lot of damage.
Yeah, we'll see what... interesting to see how Carl plays, because normally we just see them go into the jungle. It's almost like a mimic mid with Magnus doing essentially the same thing, right?
And this is the difference. Like when 9 did this, he had like uncontested jungle for 7 or 8 minutes. In this game, Schofield, he knows what's up. He knows the way this game is played. He already places the ward, and he's going to at least steal XP off these stacks, likely try to contest them.
Doing a decent job of that so far. Of course, this does take away a little bit from the top lane. The question is, I guess Legion is perfectly fine soloing against a Faceless Void type, although Whitemon's in the vicinity as well. So we'll see how this matchup ends up working out. But it's all about that farm on that Keeper of the Light for sure.
Yeah, but all that XP was shared with the Snapfire, and Chris Luck's doing a good job just ensuring he gets max farm as well, cutting the wave, pushing, doing what he can to apply pressure whenever Carl moves into the jungle.
Oh, we're going to see the skewer into the RP with Schofield on the sideline. They don't have that much damage, but a lot of lockdown. Schofield taking most of the damage. In fact, is Carl turning it around with the help of Mr. Zephyr, and that means the Snapfire does take a fall. They actually used a lot of spells, and Carl's still really healthy.
Yeah. Surprisingly tanky. That's the triple null effect. Yeah. Right? It is primarily for your spell amp, but still nice strength addition.
Yeah, for Chris Luck, I mean, obviously we've seen Empower used to help the Magnus farm the jungle. It's going to help Slark farm the Ancients at some point in the game as well. Interested to see, it's not that important, but the 10 talent was changed, the 10-second Empower duration, and I think Empower was nerfed as well to make up for it. But
yeah, well, what's funny is it's actually a buff to Empower if you take the talent. Like
it's 5 seconds extra now.
Yeah, it was overall. Well, it's 5 seconds off normally, but then you would add 10 back. So yeah.
We'll see if he takes that one. Schofield getting chased a bit here by Carl, who's sick and tired of his shenanigans. One more right click will do it, and down he goes. Gets off forward, though.
The blast change, like, it's just insane how much damage this ability does.
Yeah. It turns Coddle into easy mode, for sure.
Not quite easy mode, but, you know, a 3-second channel certainly makes it easier to, like, hit the spell properly, right? Because it's the same timing all game. It's just the damage. That is a really nice item to grab on a Coddle.
Yeah, if he continues to be this strong, I wouldn't be surprised if AUI comes out of retirement. This was his hero back in the EG days. Would just sit in the jungle as position 4, and was definitely not as good as is now.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for Beastcoast to hunt Carl in this game. They kind of use their one shot to dive in middle, but outside of their 5-position Pango, nobody's really great at rolling. Yeah, he's
got
just
the
dead.
Chronosphere. Carl's got his Illuminate coming through. It's going to end up being a pretty easy kill, but there is the cookie. Time dilation to follow. The Whisper. He does get clipped, actually, just on the side for another Illuminate from Carl.
Yeah, and that's where I think Coddle Core with a hero like Void, and when Tundra did it was with Wraith King. You know, these heroes that don't farm quite so fast, they want, you know, they'll win in the late game, right? 4 or 5 items in, they're pretty much top dog, but they need that bit of damage assist in the early game and somebody to clear waves in jungle, and Carl does exactly that. So if you're Void, you're comfortable, you're chilling, you know, just sit in the safe lane, no big deal. You want to extend this laning phase.
We have a pig pull sighting, by the way, Kyle. For those that are wondering, Kyle's actually made a request to make sure that I bring that up every single time that it does pop up into the game. Very important item, of course. Cuckoo completely out of mana in this bot lane, but looking like he's going for the typical hood. At least has the Ring of Health very soon. And I mean, pretty much every game there's a Legion Commander, you're just waiting for the blink. So 800 gold in the bank for Whisper right now. And once that blink comes online, we'll see if they're able to do something with it.
Yeah, I like this from T1, though. It looks like Disruptor on Zephyr. He's going to be building a Veil, which is just so good. I think the item is very underutilized right now in Dota. 18% spell damage, not just magic damage, all spells. And when you have a hero like Coddle, like... it's a lot of damage, and I like this decision too. If there were a game for Dagon, this is it. It's 9 minutes in, right? You've got triple null, fairy trinket, you're huge.
Oh my God. Stinger, yeah. I mean, it is a support Pango, but ain't getting out of that. One Illuminate basically took 80% of his HP.
This is the snowball, and it's very nice in this game, especially with the Chronosphere. You know, killing Slark just will come down to hit a Chrono or Ravage or Disruptor ult and Coddle damage, and that'll be plenty. You have actually 3 heroes that can all set up for a full blast.
Yeah, that's definitely true. They do have very good team fight overall. I mean, you could just look at their lineup on paper, mid to late game. You're going to see the Static Storm into the Ravage, and that is a dead position 1 Slark for Mr. K1. Carl in the vicinity as well, so I think he's been a part of basically every kill. 4 out of 5, close enough, 80%.
Good Lord, he's going to have a dig on. Well, it's time. You know, Beastcoast, end of the day, it's more about skirmishing and getting their Slark ahead. The trouble is their Slark is real behind at the moment. The matchup against Void used to be terrible because he could just like leap your leash. So now you have this ability to offensively hunt him, but you still have to favor Void throughout the game.
Is he actually dead here? Solar, but it's such a sad death, just like in slow motion. He knows what's coming, but can't do anything about it.
And this is the other thing about Core Coddle is like you get this huge level advantage. In a game like this, I think it's kind of necessary. The Solar Bind, like it's just so much damage.
Yeah,
Suns fan.
And with that move to travel, he's again just a part of basically every single kill. Double kill across the map for Carl, and into the jungle he goes. Dagon on its way. Yeah. So do you upgrade the Dagon, or do you start going for something else before doing that? Because it's not the most efficient upgrades.
No, I think in this game you might want a Force Staff at some point just to deal with the Pango, the Slark Pounce.
I think we're going to watch the slow motion death here. That was a baby swash. That's what killed him.
A very ill-advised swashbuckle, indeed.
We're going to watch this in ultra slow motion so you can feel the pain of Stinger. And the joy from
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
No, this, I will say, it just doesn't feel
no,
fair.
is this a replay or? I guess this is a different kill. All right, Carl is absolutely crushing right now. Man, it must be really fun to see Carl right.
And look top. We got an egg with a Chrono Whisper. Nice bash.
Is there. Egg does pop. So just in range.
You can see. Oh.
Okay, this would be a huge kill. Oh, RP not quite in range.
Too fast.
Yeah. The old man's too fast indeed.
So you can see why this is a great mid-coddle game. That was the first time Tide left his lane. Void hasn't left his lane. They're just sitting on their towers, and it's so difficult to make moves into Ravage and Chronosphere, right? And then Carl, he's free to TP. Rock mid, drop a Q, that wave's push, tower secure. He can go jungle. If any action happens in a side lane, he TPs in to Blast and Dagon. So T1, they're just chilling. Like, this laning phase, we're approaching 15 minutes, and we're still in the laning phase.
Yeah.
That is not the kind of game that Beastcoast want to play.
Oh, Lord. This does not feel like Dota. I'm not going to lie. This, I feel like Coddle can be picked mid every game.
Situational.
What do you think enables it specifically, like from the other side of the lineup from Beastcoast?
Is under attack.
Like, why did it make it a good mid specific?
Magnus can't really pressure the hero. You're trying to do what Coddle does. Coddle just does it a lot better.
Yeah.
And both Slark and LC require items to be able to initiate.
I mean, Chris Luck is farming great, but it's a 2,500 gold discrepancy right now. As you can see, the glimpse, but they get the skewer off into the duel. That's going to be the first victory of the game for Whisper. And Stinger, I believe that is the first Rolling Thunder of the game as well. 23 Savage comes to play as well. No Chronosphere, though, for another 70 seconds. Carl getting caught a little bit by Stinger, but Stinger, I should say, is all by his lonesome. And the Solar Bind there. Not able to connect on the Illuminate, but looks like this is going to be yet another slow death for Stinger.
A bit of an over-rotation, to be honest, from T1, but I don't think they mind. You can see that right there. Beastcoast, Pango level 6 was actually their critical timing, and unfortunately, when the laning phase takes this long, there's just no real way for him to pick up extra XP, so we needed Tome to even get close.
Yeah.
And, not out of it. That was the blink reveal on Mag, though. They do get the one kill, a dual victory. There's the Veil.
Do you think this is a game, and this is going to sound like a weird question, but since we did talk about Legion already, is dual damage important this game?
There it goes.
It always is, but not really, unless he can get to a point he can solo kill Coddle.
Schofield dead again. Okay, well that, I believe, is a Blink Dagger now, picked up by the keeper of the light player, Carl. As you can see, a glimpse, Whisper inside the kinetic field. Press the attack, attempting the TP out, but the Ravage is there just in time. And Carl, yes, indeed, he gets another double kill across the map. The second of the game.
I mean, this hero, think about last patch, right? Bots heroes mid, very good. Can push lanes, very good. And in this case, with the Blink build, the Dagon, he effectively just represents magical damage on demand. It's like a Zeus that pushes lanes, has like Chakra Magic also, If you consider the strength of Dota heroes primarily based on their ability to farm gold and turn that into items that make their hero more powerful, Carl can do that without buying any mana regeneration, right? Lena would have to, get Void Stone or go back to base. Coddle never goes back to base.
All right, well, there is a Mortimer's Kisses coming through. Looks like Zephyr's going to take the worst of it here. Still alive, though, as an RP onto 2. No Ravage to work with. Illuminate comes in with the cookie as well. Chris Luck attempting to get out of dodge, but it's not to be. And there's a big Chronosphere on several teammates, but more importantly, 2 enemies. And that turns into a double kill for 23 Savage. A 3 for nothing. As Stinger, I feel like we've seen this 10 times this game. Attempting to TP out. And, all right, that's a new one. That's a new page in the book.
And I go back here to the draft. Gotta say, Effie Dota the Prophet. Second pick's better, but first pick can just take Coddle.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Well, I'm guessing Clinks was one of the bands. I didn't get to see the earlier portion of the draft, but these 2 heroes just seem to be on another level. For the most part, depending on the game state to some degree. But Carl is actually going for the upgrade of Dagon. So Dagon number 2 online. This, I believe, is still the most expensive item in the entire game. The old Abyssal, I think, had its time in the sun for a little bit, but no more.
I mean, he's rocking 14% spell amplification.
I mean, how much the Null Talisman, the fact that it does that, and you can clear an entire wave, makes this like really, really good.
I think we talked about this last cast. It's just the best of the 3 build
coming up. No, that's going to be a Phoenix kill. That's a nice pickup for Beastcoast. Second dual victory of the game. 20 damage to boot. Stinger gets the Rolling Thunder off.
Radiant's bottom tower
looking for something. All right, gets the shield crash with that slow. Something I've yet to talk about. Okay, Static Storm is there for Zephyr. Glimpse back. Not going to save his life. So it's a 2-for-0 in Beastcoast's favor. They've expended quite a few spells here, and Carl is still in the vicinity. Chris Luck.
Oh, my God.
All right, the burst damage just out of control for Carl. And he is super fast as well. K1 on the sidelines with that shadow dance, trying to apply all the pressure to Carl that he can. Actually gets the pounce off for a moment. Stinger still taking some damage, but looks like he'll walk it off. In the meantime, 23 Savage starting to clean up here. 2 dead for Beastcoast. Will be 3 very shortly as Stinger takes the fall.
He is legitimately playing these team fights like he's Gandalf with impenetrable plot armor. Like, just running throughout the engagement. Bear in mind, like, Beastcoast aren't out of this. The one thing about, like, he's so squishy, he will die.
Yeah.
The trouble is, like, Coddle, he gets you to this point. He wins you this early to mid game portion, extends the laning phase, etc., etc. But yeah, 23 Savage, it's this guy that will actually take the reins at some point. Problem with Beastcoast is, like, when you fall behind like this, it feels like you're stuck farming waves the entire game because Coddle is more than capable of shoving 2 waves at all times. And it's hard for you to make moves. It's hard for you to find the Coddle when he's just everywhere on the map.
Dagon 3 now online. And no, you're exactly right. Like, it's a 4K net worth lead just for Coddle alone, as Chris Luck's going to get glimpsed back into the river. Chronosphere on top of him and the Pango. They'll take one for the road. Stinger still inside Rolling Thunder, attempting to TP out.
Oh, the bash.
Oh, no bash this time.
Bounty.
But still 8K net worth lead for T1 at 18 minutes. This is a stomp and a half so
Radiant's
far.
middle tower
But like you
is
said,
under
the fact that Coddle is owning, obviously it's gonna taper off a bit, but it's created so much space for 23 seconds. I mean, if you're second in net worth as a Void in a game like this, you're very happy.
What is this? What is this?
That's a glimpse. Oh, trying to get out, but there's the Ravage into yet another kill for Carl. 11, 0, and 7. 18 of the 21 kills he has been a part of.
And they're playing incredibly well. That last pick Disruptor is so clutch. You can see, the one thing about Coddle, you don't have that catch factor, but every glimpse is a free kill in a game like this.
You can see he's been basically all over the map here.
It's a lot of fun to watch, though. Like, I'd much prefer this than, some mid-sniper, right?
True. Yeah, there's definitely been...
is not nearly as...
I'm not upset. It's only been like a week, but I'm not upset about Coddle right now.
Tower is under
attack. Obviously use a little bit of tuning, but it is fun. You're right. Anything with burst damage is going to be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Probably not fun to play against, though.
No.
Can imagine. As we're going to see Whitemon impact move with the pig pull. Thank you, production. Beautiful. Look at that move speed in the river. If it was Slardar, he'd be speeding down the lane. My goodness. What a play by Whitemon. Thank you. MVP so far this game. Forget about the Coddle. All right, K1. Oh, Lord. Oh, not quite enough damage. He's in Shadow Dance. Nice job by Cuckoo trying to block, but it's not going to be enough. And you can see that a Rolling Thunder was used just to try to protect his cuddly little teammate. As we see the Echo Saber now picked up
bottom tower is under
by
attack.
Chris Luck. So Blink, Echo Saber. And that's the hilarious thing is he started off the game fine. It's just the discrepancy between him and Coddle is just not remotely close. He's going to get glimpsed back into the river. 23 Savage getting protected by the egg. We see Mortimer's Kisses on the sideline. Not really going to connect on much as Dagon. Another kill onto Stinger.
Into the light.
And that is a Dagon 5, I believe. Yes. Wow. Fully upgraded.
You don't see that every day.
Is E-Blade on the menu? Is that a thing?
Maybe Octarine.
Okay. Well, Octarine...
more absurd cast range.
It doesn't stack anymore, though, right? With the Chakra?
It does. No, because Chakra lowers, like, the cooldown on your existing spell.
Amount.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it would work.
RP onto 2. Got the Sunray coming through as well. Chris Luck puts him in the vicinity of the tier 2. The Chronosphere now to follow from 23 Savage. Just cleaning up onto Schofield. Gets 2. But it is a 2 for 2 in the end of the day as T1 is now on the retreat. K1 really wants this kill on Faceless Void. But with Carl, still has that Illuminate. Doesn't look like it's going to connect on much. And 23 Savage is going to get dueled. This will be an enormous kill. But there's a Ravage to try and protect his life. Looks like he's going to live through this. But there's the pounce again, keeping him in place. And K1 getting a much-needed kill there. Trying to turn this back around onto Tidehunter. This is a pretty big fight for Beastcoast. They can continue, but yeah, Carl is still here. Stinger lives for just a little bit longer, but Carl, again, a kill. 14 and 0. They can't kill Coddle.
I will say, though, I can't believe he survived. I'm not quite sure. He blinked out mid-fight. A slight mistake there, though, from Carl. That blast that had come right after the duel on Void, he pre-clicked it. Like, that was only a 1-second channel. If it's full, it definitely kills the Slark. But either way, I think actually a surprisingly good fight for Beastcoast, considering T1 used all their big spells. And yeah, it's been a rough game thus far, but eventually you have BKBs. Coddle doesn't do anything to BKBs. He is level 20 though, at 22 minutes in. But end of the day, he represents just straight up magical burst damage. And at a point, Slark has it queued up, Magnus has it queued up, Elsie, they all know what the answer is.
Yeah.
And T1, other than Chrono, nothing to really deal with mass BKB.
Radiant are
This is going to go for Carl.
Now, the question is, how farmed is Zephyr? It looks like he is not going... Okay, I thought he might go for Aghanim Scepter this game, but he's not... I mean, he's decently farmed for a support. But Ags would be a good answer for the BKBs in the later game if you can get that off beforehand. But yeah, that's going to be a huge power spike for Beastcoast once these BKBs come online. And like you said, only answer is 23 Savage's Chronosphere, which... They don't have the best... I mean, I guess with Coddle on the outside, you have enough magic damage to do whatever you want in the Chrono, along with Static Storm. So they do have really good wombo combos.
Yeah. If this wasn't a Magnus mid, it would be a really rough game for Beast Coast. But you got to keep in mind that Empower represents like an extra item on any of the cores on Beast Coast, specifically the Slark, of course. So you're able to keep up a bit in the farming speed, but later on in the game, you can afford to go these earlier BKBs because you have that damage steroid. And ults are back up, and T1 looking ready to rumble. No E-Blade yet, but...
Yeah, but he's definitely working. I mean, that's like 2 minutes away at this GPM. But yeah, smoke comes through. Chronosphere is up. Ravage is about to come up as well. See if they're able to get an execution here. But there's going to be a couple BKBs. Slark and Legion both now have BKBs. That is going to be very big. But the Chrono with the Sunray. Did he get the Shadow Dance off?
Yeah, he did.
I believe so. And now he gets the BKB off. So all these spells completely wasted for T1.
Okay.
They might just want to back. And I mean, for a BKB charge, I think if you're Beast Coast, you'll take it if you can take advantage of a fight upcoming.
Hector just kind of chuckling, like he's played, innumerable ups. That's like his bread and butter. Like, hey, they're going to try to kill me, but I'll be faster than they are. And then giggle at them as I run away. So, yeah, counter smoke. You traded a BKB for Chrono.
Oh, that is an Aghanim Scepter from afar from Mr. Snapfire. Beautifully done, and Tidehunter is taking the brunt of this damage. Oh, he gets the Ravage off. He's actually surviving. Whisper has to pop the BKB and retreat. And K1 attempting to get out as well. Inside his Shadow Dance, RP to save his life. Just on the Coddle, back into the fray for K1. And look at the damage now. Chris Luck and company, 23 Savage basically gets all his HP back, though. Now Chris Luck inside the kinetic field is going to get bashed down by 23 Savage. This looks so good for Beastcoast. So good, but they're going to lose 4 instead. Oh my goodness.
God. How did they win that fight on T1? Like, that was the dream opportunity. I'm like, Carl's 100% dead. He just takes on the Slark and runs away. Oh, we got to see that back, but how?
Yeah, that was insane. And on to Roshan they go.
The Aghanim Snapfire, like, legitimately nobody saw that coming.
Not even
I'm watching the game. I am in the game. Oh, man.
A gobble up initiation. That is a very powerful act, especially when it's like a reveal like that. But alas, was not enough. Now 23 Savage has an Aegis to work with. 9K net worth lead here for T1, and he's almost done with his BKB, which will help quite a bit.
We'll see this. Like,
there's the initiation.
The sound cue is so good. They get the hood off, and then
I cannot believe Tide survives, though.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Just the immediate Ravage. Okay, Whisper BKBs. I think if he maybe does that before the duel, this could go a bit better for them. Oof. The RP, and like Slark's going to turn K1. It's like, it looks so good.
Yeah,
a huge cookie. And then, like...
It could have been salvaged if 23 Savage just took a little bit more damage there. But 2,200 damage in the fight for Carl. That's par for the course.
Yeah, you can see there was like a smile. It's like, it feels so good. And once you see that cookie, you've got to feel like, okay, both these guys are dead. This is the moment. We're turning it around.
Yeah.
And then just blast it off the map. Now an E-Blade. Gracious.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
So that damage is going to get more and more crazy. But of course, they do have the BKBs. But then again, anybody that's dueled can be E-Bladed. And considering Carl's positioning, he hasn't really been a dual target
Radiant's
at all.
bottom
Like he's
tower
always in the
is under
back,
attack.
but you can always save whoever the dual target is. So
Yeah.
very good pickup for a multitude of reasons.
I mean, well, this game's simplified a bit for Beastcoast. Kill Carl.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. And he's going for an Aeon disc next, so understands that he's not going to be invulnerable forever. 15, 0, and 11. Will he have a death this game, Kyle? What's your prediction?
Radiant's bottom
see.
tower is under attack.
I don't know anymore.
Good prediction.
Radiant are scanning.
I'm going to say yes.
Dire's
If
top
you could
tower
take the
is
other.
under
I
attack.
don't actually know. I don't think
Radiant's
so.
bottom
Because he
tower
would have
is
to make a
under
mistake,
attack.
right?
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
I feel like as the game's going to go like another 10 minutes, probably. It just takes one RP.
Yep.
But we'll see. 23 Savage in the mid lane now. And he is starting to get more and more farm. He's going to see the Chronosphere on his teammate. That is Carl. He's going to get...
gobbled him.
Okay, nice gobble from Schofield. Gets the cookie up. Can't get to the high ground, though. So down he goes, but at least he saves his teammate.
Under attack.
23 Savage pursuing even
Dire's
further. Has the
top
SNY
tower has
Maelstrom. He's not... Doesn't have a ridiculous amount of damage so far, but he doesn't really need it. Double kill for Carl. Just continue to steal kills. 23 Savage would probably have an extra item if he wasn't taking all these kills from him.
I love the that mechanic, like the Pudge Shard and Diagonal Side. It's just so cool.
Yeah, Zephyr gets off the static zone, but there's the BKB, and K1 will just get out safely. The Pudge Shard, the only thing that bothers me is that it's not obvious it's happened. Like, it needs like a particle or some sort of like a sound effect or anything. Okay, Illuminate plus Dagon on a solar-bound veiled E-bladed target is a total of how much damage?
Middle tower
I'll go with C.
Not counting the E-blade?
I'll go with C. E-bladed target.
Okay.
3-2-2-2 is just too perfect, so I can't go with that. Chris Luck. All right, we're seeing the E-blade come into action. Okay, that was...
It's I think it's B, but it could be C.
All right, we'll see very shortly. Whisper getting chased by 23 Savage, but there's the shard that you were talking about. 23 Savage has his as well, so has the reverse time walk and the extra range on time walk itself.
Yeah.
That'll provide him a lot better opportunity to kind of go in and out. He's going to get bashed, though, into the pounce. All right, he's actually taking heavy damage, but back he goes. K1 already uses his ultimate. 23 Savage jumps in. Does not have Chrono, though. There's the Ravage, and Slark is just dead. The beginning of the fight. Goodness gracious. Beastcoast falling apart now. 12K net worth lead for T1. You might be right on the no coddle death after that one.
That was very odd. He didn't have VKB, so...
Yeah, he used it to get away from the top.
Yeah, as soon as he gets glimpsed, he's just dead. Ector just playing with a little too much bravado considering the state of the game, and likely opens up the racks.
That's a nice skewer into the tier 3s, but a lot of the damage mitigated again. And here comes Carl from afar, doing so much magic damage, taking another kill for himself, double for Carl. And he is just on an absolute godlike streak.
Middle barracks are under attack.
Old man, C is correct. All right. Amplified by 83%. That is that's pretty disgusting.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Quite a bit. So this is going to be a full set of racks in the mid lane.
Radiant's middle barracks.
They cannot go for megas, as the top lane still has a tier 1, but they could go for this bot racks if they choose to do so.
I will say, you just don't see this very often, right?
Like, Carl gets another kill, by the way.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
What other hero in like Dota history did this sort of thing?
Yeah, like it's like 21-0.
Like the Quap dominance of way back in the day. Like maybe a Tinker with the... who's just taken over
in a pro match.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Like, not even has this. Obviously, mid players have dominated before, but like in this manner, like I'm just blasting you off the map, killing you. Like, what heroes have done this?
Nothing comes to. I'm sure there's something, but
I guess Invoker with the.
Oh, we have the Chrono. There's the Illuminate, the BKB. That's from the Shard, from the press the attack, but Slark is dead again. No buyback to speak of. We have the duel coming out. Looks like we'll find one kill onto Zephyr, but the Dagon Express is here for Carl. Continuing to rack up those kills and, well, kill the racks as well.
Radiant's bottom barracks
they could probably just go for the Ancient. as GGs are just called, actually. So an absolute stomp from T1, and Carl did not die. I believe 21 kills is 22 kills, something. A 20 bomb, as the Counter-Strike guys would say.
T1 fans rejoice. You know, the dawn of the 7th day. Carl arrives, and
I mean, they're not giving
the power of the
They're
blind.
not giving him call anymore.
no. I think second.
Radiant
seconds
team
remaining.
back.
I can almost feel you walking in the distance, but I know that is not reality. If you are echoing around inside these
10 seconds remaining.
Which is actually funny because this is the way it used to
5 seconds
end up
remaining.
if T1 had the priority anyway, because it used to be second pick. Did you get that? Were you okay, T?
Yes, I was going to
Dire
say.
team back.
The important thing here, though, is Beastcoast being first pick. If they do get the Keeper Light, because T1 gives it away, they've really only played it on Whisper so far in the offlane, and they're yet to run it in any other role. So maybe T1's like, we don't care about your offlane coddle. We can play into that. So maybe. Or they ban out. This is probably the
10
discussion happening right
seconds
now
remaining.
within
Yeah.
the T1 boot
They
camp.
have to decide if they're giving it away,
5
basically.
seconds remaining.
And again, to be very clear, the offlane coddle that Whisper played, he went for Vessel, he went for like
BMPs.
Yeah, it wasn't like the Dagon style build. It's been a little bit more annoying in your face. Orchid as well, Blink Dagger.
But I do like the Vessel build quite a lot on Coddle, just for the, not just for the active, but the extra tankiness. It feels like it can be the difference between living and dying when they do pick a hero to deal with you.
Or you just get lucky and get an Essence Ring and live all the time.
Radiant
Like
I
Carl.
don't know if it's enough, though, is it?
Carl lived because of the Essence Ring in that first game we saw. Is nice. So they ban out Nick Assassin with typical counter.
They're throwing down the hands.
To
They're
the
like,
call.
we'll ban out the counters to coddle, so then you want to pick the coddle. T1's like offering it to them now, unless they ban it.
Unless they ban it again, yeah.
Normally we enter the
seconds
draft
remaining.
when it's like 2 bans and a pick deep. So now we get to have the anticipation of like, ooh, what they're going to ban.
5 seconds
What they're going to
remaining.
ban. What they're going to ban.
But if they do offer it to them, that means they
That's right.
definitely
Go on.
have
Still
an
good.
approach to it. But I wonder what it is exactly that they're
Dire
going to
team
do.
back.
So this is taking some time. They're both thinking about how they're going to do this.
Yeah, so the last time Beastcoast obviously drafted against T1 in game 1, I believe it was Lena plus, what was the other ban that they
You
had?
want to know the bans? Lena Bat, Nyx, Omni.
That was the hero I was missing, yeah.
So Bat's still in the pool, and
10
if Omni Knight
seconds remaining.
gets let through now as well, that is also a hero that was first phase banned previous
5
game.
seconds
So the question is, will Beastcoast pick up Keeper of the Light first pick if T1 doesn't ban it right now?
And again,
It's
so
Coddle or Omni.
yeah, they banned Omni Knight in the last game for
Yeah.
T1. It was Nyx plus Omni, they were the bans. So maybe, again, like the pick order shouldn't change much unless, they have a good strat for coddle.
Yeah.
Honestly,
And
I'd let them have the coddle if I was T1.
because you can deal with him, you just
Yeah.
have to have a better idea, basically, of what it was last game. But you can see the players are talking about it like in depth. They still don't know what they want to give away here or how they're going to deal with it.
Yeah, taking into their
Radiant
bonus
team
time.
pick.
They will ban out Kaling, so none of the above. And there goes the Keeper of the Light on the side of Beastcoast this time around.
But now that they've given it away, they should have their picks ready here, right? They're still thinking about it.
Again, it's one of those things where it's like, just because Beastcoast have played it offlane, maybe they're going to show up and maybe put it into a new role. I am going to quickly check now if they have been playing it in any other role.
Who?
Beastcoast, because of course they're the ones.
The Keeper of the Light so far has only been played twice for Whisper,
10
twice on the off
seconds remaining.
lane, one against Tundra as well.
Yeah, so far it's been Stinger and Whisper are the main
Radiant
main one
team
playing it in pubs, I meant
Oh,
specifically.
pubs, yeah.
And I wouldn't doubt that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt that Chris Luck can play this hero if you wanted to, for sure.
Especially since he saw how it's done last game.
Yeah.
They can adapt.
True.
So what T1 actually did was they prioritized the Omni for themselves. So they gave away the coddle so they
Exactly.
could take it
Yep.
for themselves. Basically, that's what their plan was.
seconds remaining.
And they pair it up with a Shadow Demon just so it doesn't get counterpicked by a Shadow Demon.
5 seconds
So
remaining.
it's nice, but I still don't see the clear solution for coddle yet.
Yeah.
Probably going to come out in the last 3.
And these two, Omni Knight, Shadow Demon, if that's your support duo, they're not really going to help you get on top of
But that's
coddle.
the thing, right? When we talk about the theme of
Radiant
T1's first game
team
draft,
back.
it was the cores were like the counter aggression heroes, and then we're talking about Keeper Light being this like pivotal support or core that can unlock the game. Same story here, but now it's the supports. They're the ones going to be in position for the counter plays, defending. Like T1, they're not subscribing to crazy. They're making sure they are ready to fight against crazy.
Yeah. So far, T1 has
10
only played
seconds
Omni Knight
remaining.
once this entire tournament.
Yes.
Offlane.
5 seconds
Didn't work
remaining.
out.
No, they lost that game. That was also the game where they had the CM, the Ench, the Slark.
Sure, there were bigger problems there as well.
There was quite a discombobulated lineup, but it did have moments of brilliance because, of course, Omni Knight and the Slark, the in and out of the fight, being very annoying.
So they'll relegate it to whatever seems a best fit here. This Batrider pickup with the Coddle is really nice because we've seen it have so much synergy, and that Coddle is always enabling him to BOTs into lanes and take these fights. Also, the Chakra Magic makes sure that Batrider never has to go base, right? He's always got uptime. He's always ready to fight.
Radiant team
These two heroes together have been historically very good.
True.
Just that I wonder if
Dire team
I wonder
back.
if they're putting the Coddle still. When I see it paired with a Batrider, I always assume it's going to be a 4.
Yeah, so far Batrider has been only in mid.
Yeah.
So when I see these heroes and in what Beastcoast have been doing recently, it does feel like this is your offlane, this is your mid, then we're going to get that, Earth Spirit style
10
hero to
seconds
unlock the
remaining.
Keeper Light offlane. You're going to get that strong lane duo in the bot lane, and they're going to
5
play that
seconds
active in your
remaining.
face style because they're going to have good lanes.
Right, so they ban out Queen of Pain just to cover their Batrider, really, to make
Yep.
sure he has a strong lane no matter what. And the Tidehunter, because of the reasons we've mentioned before, he's just like an anti-crazy type of hero, but also he can debuff the lasso and can ravage the Coddle in the back lanes.
Yep.
So, pretty good bans so far. I'm just still really curious about this Coddle. They'll either play it on the 3 or on the 4.
Well, you've been saying as well, right? That if you're first pick in any draft, you should have those
team
first 2
back.
heroes be flexible because that's your
Absolutely.
strength in the draft.
Yeah, and the nice thing here is because T1 responded with the Omni Knight, if it is just offlane Coddle, they've got that 5 position, and the way in which you deal with Coddle is make sure that you have the resources to be able to push out the creeps. You're never going to be able to push the lane quicker than the Coddle, but when you get hit by
10
that Illuminate,
seconds
you need to be able to regen back up and make that play. We've seen Abaddon be pretty good against the Coddle in
5
offlane.
seconds
We've seen, obviously, of course, Omni Knight. They're enabling their carry, and the carry now doesn't have to be like a life-stealing style carry that can farm on the tap, because that 5 position will be filling that gap for you.
So the bans in Morphling and Lifestealer make me wonder if they're going to go for Sven anyway here on the side of T1. And I'm also thinking about Beastcoast if they're going to pair a Coddle with an Earth Spirit again.
Yep, it makes quite a lot of sense. Unless, again, these second phase bans are you ban for the carry, they either ban it, or it's we now got it. So Sven for sure. When you see Morphling and Lifestealer, it was against Alliance, the Lifestealer into Sven matchup. Leon Sven thrived, but then you got to that kind of boiling point where Lifestealer had Nullifier,
Dire
Skadi,
team
AC,
back.
etc., and the game just completely turned on its head. And these bans here, Quap and Puck, of course, we mentioned the Quap. Puck, again, one of the better mids against mid-bat. It is just going to be most likely.
Yeah, that's the safest
Mid-bat,
assumption for sure, especially paired with the Coddle, right? It has to be this way. And it really does look like a Sven pick for T1. So I wonder what Beastcoast
10
are going to
seconds
do here.
remaining.
It seems like they're taking their sweet time on both sides. So
5
they came into this
seconds
draft with an
remaining.
idea of what they wanted their opener to look like, but not
Radiant
really how they
team
wanted
pick.
to follow up on it.
And you go for a Void Spirit. Again, when
So
you...
this is obvious, right? This is the most obvious pickup just because it doesn't lane at all very well versus Batrider, but they do need it to jump the backline heroes
Yep.
such as the Coddle, and they don't really have all that much damage right now, so Void Spirit does provide
10
some in way of
seconds
that.
remaining.
It's not, is it enough though? We'll see. Do you remember that
5
game T
seconds
where
remaining.
Beast Coast's Chris Luck played Void Spirit versus Tundra's 9 and he got completely stomped?
Yes, tell me more about this game.
Well, he got completely stomped, basically. Got destroyed with.
Radiant
So
team pick.
it makes me wonder if Carl's just more confident on the Void Spirit or if it could even be an offline Void Spirit or something like that.
Yeah, this is the position when you're second pick, opening up with a core, being able to put it into other lanes is going to be very powerful. I wouldn't mind seeing it maybe go to an offlane if it's weaker, if there's maybe you see something better.
10
But again,
seconds
Beastcoast right now, they go for the
remaining.
tanking. Everything's a little bit open. They need to lock in their 5 right
5
now.
seconds remaining.
Honestly, they might even lock in their carry just so it doesn't get banned out.
The issue there is you just don't see the other carry, so you're naturally putting yourself at a disadvantage.
That is an issue, but if they target ban K1's hero pool, he might not have much left to work
Yeah,
with.
and he's already lost 4 of the carries.
Yeah.
And right now, he doesn't really like playing Wraith King. There's a TB, there's a Naga. But again, these aren't really too hot.
So I'm still thinking about this Void Spirit versus Batrider matchup. It has to be that if they give it to Carl, he feels confident playing against Batrider. He goes, just give me the Void. But what we've seen of it in this tournament, maybe it was a bit of a misstep on the side of Chris Luck when he got solo killed a couple of times, but
like early on, you just need to respect that if you got 4 or 5 stacks on you, you just AFK behind your tower, don't get to 7+, don't get the
but then
flame
you're
break.
just letting Batrider do his thing and like get all runes and snowball, which is not what you want out of your mid lane here.
And then you you have to be ready where when Bat then looks to kill you, your supports are in position where they don't need to be in the side lane, they can rotate to mid, because you can't always kill Batrider. They go for a silencer, covering their fight. Like, they have so much fight right now and jump, and like the save of T1, they're such an immense value, so they do pick like casual 5 pick. When they initiate on the Sand King, initiate on the Bat, before Omni and SD get items, it's going to be like, this is our fight within the window of global.
This is the idea here, that they jump and they lasso a hero, or they jump stun or jump epi, and immediately follow it up by silence, just so that Omni Knight does not get to the point where he saves them with Heavenly Grace.
And they go for the Sven. There it is. Yeah.
That one is pretty obviously like bound to cover it.
Yep.
I just don't know why they gave it away. They're not afraid of it, it seems like.
Well, like, their lanes are really good, right, for Beastcoast. You're going to have this Sand King Cuddle lane, be it 3 or 4, doesn't really matter. You're going to have this, like, early fight within you, and, like, the saves are fully removed. So, support duo for T1 aren't going to be doing anything when Beastcoast want to choose a fight. And, like, we saw in that previous game, Beastcoast didn't really get to make any plays, but this is the type of lineup where they'll push in the waves. Sven will feel really bad in the jungle, because of course he won't have much of a great time in lane, so it does give Beastcoast this nice like 15-20 minute window of just every global should be a clean fight, a clean objective if they play well. But T1 is so good against that.
To reply to what you just said, I do think this is a 4 cuddle, because between Sand King and your cuddle, you do want your Sand King to have items.
For sure, yeah.
And you want your cuddle to play more of an enabling role for Batrider and not take up that much space himself, just for the early game at least.
But every 4 cuddle eventually becomes a 3 cuddle, then a 2 cuddle, then a carry.
Just for the early game at least, right? Because Batrider does have to meet some specific conditions so that he can play his snowball style of Dota.
Only a few more seconds left on Beastcoast reserve time. They will end up banning out 2 offlaners, Night Stalker and Darkseer. What kind of offlaner do we want to see on the side of T1? Is there any specific boxes it needs to tick? Also, keep in mind, Omni Knight might potentially still be Cuckoo's hero here.
If they want to go for more saves, like we saw Legion in the last game, didn't do too great, but like the idea of you buy BKB, buy Shard, and suddenly 2 heroes now don't care about global. Beastcoast, they pick first, they do go for the Terrorblade, like earlier mentioned, plays pretty well into Sven. You just go, Manta, Skadi, Butterfly, and then Sven feels pretty awkward. Yeah, Beastcoast, much better draft this time. And now you need to have a hero in offlane that can, take a fight into a TV silencer during the lane and the game.
Okay, so TV was the only obvious hero left alongside Naga, but like Naga doesn't really want to play into Sven all the time. Right, so this TV pick was all that they had, and he can easily have a really good game as long as they're taking the fights with global and he doesn't have to worry about Omni ulti. So this should be fine depending on how Beastcoast navigate the fight. But I really like the bans that they had on Night Stalker and Darkseer, because the way we've seen Omni Knight being played, especially with the Sven, is that they pair it with another very durable hero. They both run in and it just feels like your backline is completely safe.
And they go for the Doom. Yeah, like right now, T1, they have pretty much like no damage early on. Like if Beastcoast bring 4 of their heroes together whilst TB's farming, they have to hope they're diving a tower, and they kite out for so long, because I'm a bit worried that T1, they need Sven to hit jungle, Doom to have a great lane, then get the BKB, because like once T1 has BKBs, for sure, this is going to be a nice time. You just run through, you find the Terrorblade, Doom him, take a fight. But this is Beastcoast's game to really kind of assert their dominance and showcase what a cuddle style draft can do.
Yes, and I think so. And they don't have the issues that they had last game with their lanes always being horrible and unable to leave and fight, really. They shouldn't have the issue of just running at them now. Whereas before it felt like they couldn't even get past their tower without dying.
Yeah, they just can't get baited though, because like they need to respect T1, where like even on like you look at their draft, there's no damage really on T1 early on. But if you don't respect that and you don't use your global correctly and you don't layer your stuns correctly, then Omni Knight, SD, these heroes will thrive, Void Throat will kite out. Like T1
Doom will doom the Terrorblade.
Yeah, it could be devastating for Beastcoast if they get carried away with that aggression.
It feels like these 2 drafts have set up for a much more even game.
And you're happy to see the Keeper of the Light as a 4?
Yeah, he has to play 4 here.
Okay.
With the Sand King, it's just such a nice lane, right?
Yes.
It's some Caustic, some Burrow Strike, some Illuminate. You then take over that lane, you invade jungle, Tower with Catapult. Beautiful stuff.
Beautiful stuff. Let's see if the whole of Game 2 could be such beautiful stuff. We're finding out together with Sunsfan and Kyle.
Thank you very much. T1 versus Beastcoast, game number 2 of this best of 3 for the lower bracket. Winner goes to face off against PSG LGD. We have a Coddle in the game again, this time on the opposing team, this time a support. Will he still farm? Will he go 21-0 on a support Coddle?
High standards,
Just
but
say
anything
no.
is possible.
It's take the odds, okay? Take the good odds here.
It's unlikely.
Good. So this draft is interesting, though, because, like I said, the Coddle on the other side.
High standards,
Just
but
say
anything
no.
is possible.
It's take the odds, okay? Take the good odds here.
It's unlikely.
Good. So this draft is interesting, though, because, like I said, the Coddle on the other side. We have Batrider back in mid, which you've been seeing a lot in this tournament. It's had very good success thus far as well. What are your thoughts on the lineups?
Well, it's going to need to have a lot of success.
Such a limited imagination.
I will say it does feel like Beast Coast has their lineup kind of answered by what T1's got. Doom is this old school counter to Terrorblade that VP in the old days used to love. They also have Shadow Demon, and I'm always surprised to see TB picked into Shadow Demon.
Yeah.
They also have Sven, which theoretically against Scotty kind of leans toward the TB, but with GA to protect you, like Void Spirit, it's just, I'm always cautious when I see Luna or TB picked into Shadow Demon. That scares me. And then you look at the initiation potential from Beast Coast, it's incredibly strong, but that's where they're going to win or lose this game, right? The silence overlapping with the lasso to ensure there can be no Omni Knight Grace to cleanse it off. Anything goes. Coddle mid isn't a thing in this game.
Yeah,
so Beast Coast feels a bit
the
better.
same level of catch to get a Coddle this game, right? But I was thinking the same thing. Shadow Demon obviously makes great illusions out of Terrorblade. We can talk a little bit more about this in just a second. It's Cocoon Company looking for Whisper. All right, Disruption to start things out. We can see the Coddle Blast on the sideline. Burrow Strike is there, but Stormbolt connects onto 2 with the Aether Remnant, keeping Whisper in place, and that's going to be First Blood, the way of T1. But not only that, but the Disruption to save for Batrider Lassos potentially if you get like an Aether Lens, and Zephyr has been known to get pretty farmed on his supports, and this is very late game stuff, I know, but Shard with like Ags and like all this stuff, like dispelling the global silence constantly.
The mid matchup is the one to watch, though, because if you recall, 9 on Batrider against Chris Luck on Void Spirit killed him not once but twice.
Yeah.
Now he's playing the bet this time against the Void Spirit. You got to assume he learned a bit from that matchup, so look to Carl to outperform here, because realistically, it's that fast bots timing from Batrider that really causes problems with T1's lineup. So if Void Spirit can keep the pace, be at his equal in terms of rotating around the map, looking to make things happen, I think it'll be a tough game for Beast Coast. Their tower damage is limited to just their Terrorblade, so look for bigger rotations.
Oh, let's see a Burrow Strike into no Eliminate connecting this time on 23 Savage. Yeah, the mid matchup like you're talking about, just absolute, like it's a melee versus Batrider. I don't know if there's a melee that can even survive. I guess like Lifestealer can any dispel is essentially what you need. Carl should get.
I think Void Spirit can do okay. I mean, you have 15 base damage on him, and you're really, it's just so nice to be able to spam spells, right? Like Void Spirit, you don't have any mana issues. Napalm's, he had just used Stick during this wave. He's now already got 6 charges. You just have to, not die.
Easier said than done sometimes. But I mean, once he gets level 6, it'll be pretty hard to kill him anyway. K1 on the Terrorblade. Are you a fan of this hero in this patch? He wasn't really nerfed that much. His agility gain was lowered a bit, which that's probably the most significant one among some smaller. I was expecting a bigger nerf as a whole, but perhaps like everything as, sometimes these patches are a little bit deceiving where other things are getting nerfed and buffed, and it actually just makes Terrorblade more an even hero than it was in the last patch.
It's just like still one of the hardest carries in Dota, right? Farm everything. The concept that makes Coddle mid really good is actually the same with TB, in the sense that you can shove lanes without giving vision of your hero, right? You just send an illusion. And that's a really strong mechanic nowadays, because these creeps and the waves pushing, again, the game is way more about macro. So if I can shove side lanes easily and get my carry more from Grace timing, that's actually going to lead to a kill. Wow.
Really, Stormbolt and Purification.
That was like nearly frame perfect.
I thought he missed the stun.
No,
I know, but after replaying it in my mind, like, oh, Heavenly Grace, at it again. I mean, these heroes that have the hard dispel, very strong, just for that reason alone.
Oh.
Okay,
no.
Coddle Courier.
Boots.
Will live. And Whisper's back into the lane. I mean, how is this a good Sand King game, you think? Could you have picked any, like, what were they looking for here? Just like the initiation, the team fight, as we see let's look at this frame perfect Heavenly Grace.
I shall repay this debt.
In midair. It's actually pretty good.
Your anger.
Actually cost him his life as well.
Yeah. Sand King, I think right now is just some games it's just like the do it all offlaner, right? If you remember, people, it was like Axe or Centaur you would just pick. I think SK is nice, especially with a hero like Kyle, because you're just applying pressure, but oh my god, like you can see the pressure as we speak.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Why is Axe not picked? I know that they got rid of the shard aspect, as we're seeing another Illuminate. That is gonna be a kill. It's a little bit too cocky from 23 Savage, but yeah.
I mean, the nerfs to Act, I think, hurt, but it also feels like the Vanguard offlane style just isn't as effective this patch.
I see. We have 2 stacks of Shadow Poison here. This shouldn't be enough, as K1 will live.
Oh, the creeps.
Yeah, the creeps.
Careful.
Good thing he has very high armor. Oh, but the Shadow Poison. That might be the first time I've seen a 1-stack Shadow Poison get a kill this early.
It's kind of funny how both teams are, in a way, utilizing like the same type of 4 position, right? Just spam damage into the carry.
I mean, that's 2 embarrassing deaths, I would say, on the position 1s from each side. So it's kind of even in that regard.
Gotta bring more regen, I get forced to play 5 all the time, and my carry player, it's like anytime they take a bunch of damage, they're like, where's your salve?
Yeah.
Like, bro, I already used 2 on you. What am I supposed to do?
Healing shock.
In this case, both supports could have probably done a little bit better in terms of funneling regen.
All right, the big replay here. Look at the Shadow Poison. Boom! Right at the tail end. What a shot. No Okay, there was a reaction. It's a little bit late.
Oops.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Feast or
Oh my god, Carl's getting dove here. Then tier 2. Chris Luck will likely fall. The tower's going to do a lot of damage, but he gets the XP. Zephyr, though.
K1 and Savage, those are silly deaths. You'll get a little flame for it, but that's what makes you a S tier carry, right? Is that you're pushing your limits and you're living on the edge.
Yeah.
Sometimes you look dumb. You make we saw Savage die yesterday against Alliance, on Dusa, just bluffing bottom, pushing alone into a tier 2. But that's what gives you that 100% efficiency. You got to take the risks.
Oh, we see the Stormbolt here. Illuminate's only going to connect on creeps, but Schofield will be more than happy with that, as we see another Burrow Strike with the Caustic Finale being coupled there.
Crazy lane.
Absolutely. Some action bot lane now. Zephyr's going to be fine, just going to walk off that Arcane. He's actually a higher level than Cuckoo, just because of the XP he got mid. And we'll see if he can snowball this in a way.
Holy, he's level 5?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I wonder how much XP he actually got for that mid, because he died to the tower, but he was in vicinity. That for a position 4, that's definitely nice.
Double damage.
But like we were talking about, this is a hero like Shadow Demon. If you're able to get some farm on him, he can help a lot in a game like this, where his spells are super high value.
Hold on, hit him.
Somehow hit him. Chris Luck is going to get the last,
no.
Attempting to go to the cliff, but Grace again.
Oh no, that was just the status resist. He didn't expect it.
Yeah, that
didn't have nearly enough travel duration.
Silence mere
We're going to get the kill onto Zephyr, but it's going to be a trade for Stinger, which at that rate, Beastcoast will be happy with. That's a high level Shadow Demon.
Yeah. But I am a bit concerned right now. I mean, this is a Doom who's now level 6. And if you look at Hector, he's like, am I okay here? Is this safe? And it's tough to play this lane. You don't really want to rotate to jungle. And here comes Carl.
Here we go. Scorched Earth. They're attempting to dive Stinger. In the vicinity. Carl is here as well, though. They're going to use the 8th Remnant to clean up Stinger pretty easily. So no TP available for him. Cuckoo's going to have to walk off this Arcane Curse.
He'll be just fine.
Still has his wand charges to go. And K1 into the jungle he goes for now.
He'll likely.
Oh,
nice job.
This is where Shadow Demon really gets high value. Taking other people's camps. Oh my god. If he had done it a little sooner, he would have gotten full XP as well. Would have been level 6. But Zephyr
Blessings.
helping out his comrades again. This time onto Whisper. There's the Sentry and...
Love that. Both
Very
supports have a sentry. That's preparation.
Yep. Very true. And Zephyr has Arcane Boots. And
Very
level
nice.
6. So Demonic Purge, I assume he's going to level it. Might be holding the point. Yeah, there we go. Look at this. Look at this replay. Look at this XP. Sadly, for him, it was shared.
It's such a satisfying animation when you proc the poison.
Yeah.
It's like a Darth Vader force choke, you know?
That is true. It's this exact same animation. Carl, level 7 now on this Void Spirit. I mean, what kind of build are you hoping to see on him this game? Looks like Yules is going to be the first. Which
I like Yules. I think he could have gotten away with rushing Aghanims, but against Bat, against Silencer, it's just nice to have the on-demand self-purge.
Yeah.
And Whitemon able to get a ward there. But
even though we got that kill, you know, Chris Luck, it's an even matchup mid, but I do feel like they needed more out of this on the side of Beastcoast. Keep in mind, Cuckoo is naturally going to rise in the ranks in terms of his GPM, just nature of Doom. He's also going for the Midas as expected. And yes, Terrorblade is arguably like a harder carry than Sven, but the problem is, like, you can just get doomed, and there's an SD who will take you.
Okay, one disruption with the Shadow Poison, and he's going to die to his own illusions, essentially.
Yep.
My goodness.
You can't really play Dota as TB when you fall behind like this on Sven.
Dire's middle
Into
tower
SD
is
Void
under
Spirit at
attack.
least.
All right, what is the thought process? Because again, we both had the same thought where you're picking, like Shadow Demon was a couple picks before that.
Yeah, it was
They
second-
plenty
it was
of time to
open
think
to
about
it. Tower is
So
under
they had
attack.
some, like, they just weren't worried about it, I guess. Or was there just no carry that would have fit their lineup, perhaps? Pick pull, by the way.
I believe PL was banned.
Radiant's middle tower
And they're
is under
looking for
attack.
something that can go toe to toe. But yeah, I mean, I just, I don't know. I would not really want to play many carries at all into these matchups. T1 has a very nice and balanced draft, but yeah, I see Shadow Demon and I disqualify Luna and TB as like possible picks.
Yeah, especially Luna. Luna is crazy because Shadow Demon ends up getting so much farm actually because of those illusions.
Well, it also, like, the purge functions through BKB, right? So you don't even have.
Yeah.
Radiant are scared.
Nice
Cuckoo, yeah, gets off the stomp. Chris Luck attempting to catch up there. Flame break is there.
Dire's top tower is
Into
under
the lasso.
attack.
Looks like that's going to be the death of Cuckoo. But
You would
we have
hit
the
it, old man.
Carl mid coming to play as well. So it's going to be a 1-for-1. They're going to try to save a little bit more. Chris Luck attempting to TP out will be successful. So Beastcoast gets the better of that exchange.
3.
Dire's
I love
top
that. He's
tower
going
is
Dragonlance
under
and
attack.
Yasha, so he just goes 3 bans.
Okay, sure. Why not?
Dire's
I mean, it's
top
better than
tower
back in the
is
day
under
where we
attack.
had 3 full bracers or 4 bracers in some cases. Just all these small little items that you can't actually upgrade and they're just stuck in your inventory, but it's still worth getting. Oh, do you remember the days when you used to buy recipes on like Earthshaker, for example? This happened in a pro match where we'd buy a recipe, like a cheap one, because he would die so often and lose his gold. You just amalgamate enough of those recipes to sell them at once to buy a Blink Dagger. That was a thing it was in Dota 2, I think, actually. That was not fun.
I don't remember that.
Not a fun mechanic.
May have been before my time.
Chris Luck, and you're probably still playing Han at that point, actually. Dominating the Han scene at that time is Cuckoo. Epicenter's there.
Good save.
Yeah, Heavenly Grace is probably going to be enough. They don't really have much catch since Whisper pretty much popped everything. Does have his Blink Dagger, though.
There we go. White Mon
Dire's
has landed like,
bottom
look at
tower
that.
is
Clarity,
under
a
attack.
salve. Helping hand. Schofield's in some trouble.
Yeah, Shadow Poison is not going to hit there. Zephyr can continue on, though. 1 clip.
Oh,
Dude,
ooh.
Coddle is fast, so
Very
he's the
fast.
one hero that can dodge these. Yeah, he should be okay.
What a hero. Now he's just going to sit bottom. You know, he's basically doing the job of a Wyvern, right? So what's really interesting about this Coddle pick, you're talking about, like, why is it played in which role? Mid, it's like a replacement to all
Radiant's
these
middle
bots
tower
heroes.
is under attack.
And as a support, you effectively become a Winter Wyvern.
Dire's top tower
Uh-oh,
is
that's the
under
pick
attack.
pull. Cuckoo is not going to be enough, though. He has the Burrow Strike from Whisper.
No, the Midas.
-2.
Radiant structures are
Didn't
fortified.
get a chance.
Yeah, Midas efficiency
Dire's
out the
top
window now.
tower
He's going to
is
be
under
behind
attack.
from here on out. I mean,
Dire's
what do you think of the
structures
timing, though?
are
12-minute
fortified.
Midas, We've seen faster. Could have been worse, though.
Yeah, it's not fantastic, and it does mean that T1's like, it's a very greedy lineup. We can be honest about it. It's a Sven and a Doom Midas. They're going to need a lot of time, and this is when Beastcoast's lineup is going to start to thrive. You have the Blink on your Sand King. You've got bots on your bad. Looks like he'll have Blink soon, especially after he finishes off stealing these stacks. So it's concerning, because if you're T1, you really don't want to be fighting right now, and you're reliant on counter initiation. You've got 2 defensive supports and a limited ability to hunt enemies. It's just Carl and the Void Spirit who can really make plays. And that's a tough spot to be in. Beastcoast, they're going to look to get aggro here. Expect to see smokes come out.
And Zephyr, Shadow Demon working on the Aether Lens, no big surprise. That'll give him a lot more capability to actually save people with the last. How does that work with last? It still drags them, but if you use it on the ally, right? But they don't take damage, obviously. I think it still drags like the disruption thing, I want to say. We'll have to see. It's been a while since I've seen that as a pseudo counter. There's better counters than against Whisper. Rocking out that epicenter with that lasso combination. Burrow strike, nice layering, and that is going to be a very easy kill onto Carl.
That's what I'm talking
1K net worth lead now for Beast Coast.
It's the playmaking potential. It's a big edge now, and Terrorblade to provide the tower damage. And yep, there's this one. Get a kill. Immediately go for more. You don't need lasso. You've got another blink stun and silence ready to cover it.
Middle tower is under attack.
Zephyr on the other side of the trees. Might get caught out here. Whisper, yep, his smoke pops. He knows somebody's there. Burrow strike, flame break. Right, self-disruptions. 23 Savages in the vicinity, but doesn't really want to commit. Looks like, okay, I take that back. Global Silence is there, though. Stinger, he'll take a couple right clicks, but just walk it off. Savage ends up popping that God Strength. Wants to take out Whisper. Looks like he'll do so pretty easily. And now Crystalk is next on the menu, but he's taking a lot of damage from these illusions. There's the Guardian Angel. As Whitemon's finally joined this fight, K1. Gets used up, no Aether Remnant available, but there's the first one of the game, I do believe, but the Stormbolt does not connect onto the Terrorblade. They'll have to take out Schofield instead. The Terrorblade continuing to just get away. Aether Remnant, oh my god, all right, that was definitely enough damage. Double kill for Carl. So after a pretty decent start for Beast Coast, they lose 4.
Flame break damage, what in the hell? Again, dies with Midas off cooldown. Poor Cuckoo, but you take that fight if you're T1. You lost your tower, but really surprised Beast Coast committed for more there. You take those kills, and I think you're chill. They got the objective, and they play into the Doom. Really nice by Schofield, throwing his life away to ensure the stun didn't latch to his TB, but not enough as Carl, Void Spirit power, you're chasing a Doom target, pretty much always going to catch it.
Sven goes into the jungle, so his farm's going to get amplified big time. I mean, Bat Rider, though. That is, he's second in net worth, so Crystalk having a very good game. So has the blink for himself, so that's a double blink on the side of Beast Coast. What are you hoping to find on him now? We've seen BKB, obviously, but this game against the Doom kind of weird as
Whitemon,
the initiation. Cuckoo gets disrupted by his teammate. Here comes the epicenter. Yep, he's going to get it off in time, and Whitemon's going to drop as a result. So it's a double kill for Beast Coast. Zephyr with that Dust of Appearance. Whisper gets off one more Burrow Strike, falls shortly after.
This is a very weird play there by T1. Like, they're backing up their Doom, but you just, you got to be played a little more tight in that spot. And really, like, maybe the flaw with the T1 lineup in a sense that their 3, 4, and 5 don't really shove waves. Yeah, Shadow Demon can, but he's also then trying to play behind his core so that Cuckoo can take the net worth. Obviously a lot easier for this hero to push lanes.
Yeah, that's true. He has to be there to save, and Omni Knight doesn't really do anything with waves.
Living things die.
As we have a pause now. So 2K net worth lead for Beast Coast.
How
would you still want to be in their shoes at this point, even with the Terrorblade against SD?
I think Beast Coast, they have the word. We've been talking about card games recently. What's it called? Like the initiative?
Thank you.
They have the initiative.
The artifact initiative, yeah.
Exactly. So, in a sense, if they play all the right moves, they're in control of the game. You initiate, you have silence. Right now, T1, they don't have any tools to remove it from their heroes. So, theoretically, if you initiate properly, you have some kind of vision advantage. You can't really lose a fight, right? What?
It's pig pull again.
Oh my god.
This is a pig pull highlight. Sorry, I was listening, but the pig pull is very
No. Let's focus on the important aspects of the game.
Oh, God.
Priority.
Good. Sorry, what were you saying, Kyle?
It's not important now.
Okay.
Just
Sure.
like artifacts.
That's a very sad one. Too soon. Schofield blown up. It's always too soon. That is a kill onto the cutout. I mean, we obviously have not seen the same kind of impact from Keeper of the Light, but we are comparing a position 2 to a position 4.
That's true.
I mean, would this have been a game that mid Coddle would have worked? Is it just like one of those things that you're just not, comfortable playing at mid? Certain teams, certain players?
I think it's just you're playing against a Sven, and maybe you feel more comfortable. It really is a player comfort thing. Like when Quincy Crew picks this up, it's almost always MSS that's going to be playing it for similar reasons.
Oh, Chris, like
good initiation.
Finn here, yep. Stormbolt's there. Global silence to follow. Carl in the thick of things. 23 Savage still has that God Strength up. Whitemon not able to get his Guardian Angel up. Just gets blown up in the meantime. And a Firefly into the trees. I believe he's pick pulled as well. Sven disrupted. Going to keep him alive a little bit longer. Stormbolt's going to finish off Stinger. But shortly after, Sven does take a tumble. So a nice rotation from Beastcoast. Not only defending this tower, but getting a very important kill onto 23 Savage.
You can also see why Sven is balanced, because when you try to fight into choke points and trees, he actually got blocked by the illusion rune of the Bat Rider and suddenly couldn't do anything. He's just stuck. Bat flies away, spams napalm. He ends up getting caught out.
Also spammed pig pull while flame broken. 10% movement speed. You know, I've been told that you can use this. I think we're going to see a replay of the pig. 4 seconds, Kyle. Are you ready for this? Monster use of pig pull incoming. And there it is. How can you catch him? Have you tried to catch a pig with your bare hands? Very difficult.
You know, there's actually that is actually like a sport
trying to
in
catch
certain rural regions of America. Is how fast can you catch a greased pig?
That sounds real rural to me.
It's literally a thing.
That I think I may have seen some clips. Yeah, they're all greased up and yeah. Haven't they heard of basketball? There's other actual sports out there. I bet a lot of people are probably saying that about esports, though, so I can't really think. But they're wrong.
So whatever floats your boat, right? I mean,
it's true. As long as it's not hurting anybody, well, the pigs. Carl, gonna get the Aether Remnant off. Should be good to go. Chris Luck still very huge in terms of net worth. About 800 lead between the mids, though.
Yeah. You know what I've always thought there'd be a market for is like some version of like summer camp games, but for adults. You know, like imagine. I would watch EG not play Dota, but compete in like the 3-legged race.
Yeah,
you know.
No, that's true. All right, we're gonna see the Burrow Strike. Epicenter actually, nope, global silence to follow. Epicenter finally goes off, but he's next to an entire crew, so not a whole lot of damage done. Oh, we're seeing Will-O-Wisp for the first time in this game, so a lot of farm coming the way of the Coddle. Whitemon disrupted, already got the Guardian Angel off. Is everybody trying to maneuver their way around the Ignis Factus? Chris Luck getting bursted down by both Savage and Carl. Now Stinger looks to be next on the list, basically out of mana right now. Oh, gets the Glimmer Tape off, juking around the trees. They destroy most of the trees. There's the dust, and Stinger will be swiftly brought down.
Well done. I mean, you can see the power of the silence. Oh, wait, Schofield?
It's not done, apparently. 23 Savage finds Schofield in the trees, blinding light.
Oh, not this again.
Yeah, Zephyr, he does have...
Oh, no.
He doesn't have a pig pull. There's no way he's getting out of this, but there are a bunch of trees to maneuver around.
Oh, no.
And it finds his way to 23 Savage.
What was that Dota custom game in Warcraft 3? It was like vampires, I think?
Sounds familiar.
Where you'd like build these structures and like you'd have to... I don't remember, but anyway, that would happen. You'd find yourself in a choke point and be like, and then they'd get you.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Yeah, those were the days. Those are truly the days. It's Cuckoo now starting to make his upward trajectory in the
Speaking of custom games,
tower
write
is
to your
under attack.
representative about fixing custom games.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. They know about it. I can tell you for a fact they know about it for years now. Bat Rider getting initiated on by Carl with Zephyr on the sideline. Gets off the Demonic Purge, and that's going to be a big kill going the way of T1. The pig pole. No. Wait. Okay. Demonic Purge kills him.
Well, that's weird. That isn't. That isn't purged.
Yeah, I mean hexes aren't purgeable, right?
But it's a defensive hex.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
I mean, would you want it to be purged?
I don't know.
By the enemy?
Actually. I guess if you're willing to turn yourself into a pig, like perhaps will leave you like that. Like
it's considered a debuff on yourself, right? So you're only taking off positive buffs from them as the enemy.
Well,
it's probably the way it's coded.
Anyway, it's still a tight game. T1 have the kill advantage, but
Yeah, Aether Remnant with the Astral Step, but there's a Will-O-Wisp. Epicenter Burrow Strike combination, and it looks like Whitemon gets deleted right off the bat, which means T1 need to get the hell out of dodge. No Guardian Angel to work with. And they're actually going to find the mid as well. With the Dissimulate Astral Step. Carl gets out just in time. So all they lose is the support Omni.
Can't believe he escaped, but... Anyway, T1, they have the kill lead, slight gold advantage, but Beastcoast keeping up because they just push lanes and farm so much more efficiently. TB, yep, there's the timing. Even skipping the Sange just to get the Scotty up faster. It's so key here, but also means that you have stronger illusions to deal with.
Yep, that's going to mitigate some of the purification heal. Obviously, that's not the biggest reason you get it in this game, but... is there a better stat item than Scotty? Very good hero. I like the Aether Lens on Bat. You were wondering, like, what do you pick up here? You don't necessarily need BKB as much because you have the silence to cover you, but the range will be important because you're playing into this double save. So, BKB now on Cuckoo. Do they have one on Savage yet? Yes, they do. It's interesting. We've been seeing a lot of these fights, and you can see Zephyr gets lasso, but there's the Stone Bolt. Keep him in place, and Chris Luck is just done.
Look at his team. Where is he?
Yeah, that was a miscommunication for sure. Big time tips coming through as well. Stinger getting chased by Carl in the trees. And 23 Savage. Oh, all right. I guess Carl just wants it for himself.
Beastcoast, they remind me of... what was it? Old school Immortals, you know, the QO squad, where they have this like incredible like team play, but every once in a while, like they're too aggressive. It feels like that was just not necessary. He's diving like tier 2 tower. They don't have global. Yeah. Like, there's no scenario unless T1 are just asleep at the wheel that's going to work out for Beastcoast. And in addition, you saw the BKB. You know that T1 is going to be looking to take an engagement at some point. Very odd.
Oh my, 23 Savage. Gosh, really hates those illusions. Going for the tier 1.
That's what it'll tell you.
Are fortified.
I mean, you can tell the difference in the illusions, right? It's not a Mantis, so... Unless he's colorblind or something.
Tower has fallen.
23 Savage into the pit. Potentially we go with that God Strength still good to go. 500 gold, really, from illusions. That's actually more than I thought it would be. Yeah. It's pretty good. It's not like Nature's Prophet Trance, which you can't buy anything with. Whisper, Epicenter, incoming with the Will-O-Wisp. Canceling the animation over and over, but there comes the global size. Oh, he instantly gets destroyed by 23 Savage. Absolute beauty on the BKB timing. They're going to find Schofield as well. That's going to be a buyback onto the Caldos. Zephyr will take a tumble, so it's a 2-for-1. And Chris Luck on the high ground. 23 Savage has to try to TP out. Looks like he'll be successful, though. And into the pit, potentially, Beastcoast will go. Carl, still in the vicinity, though. Has the Yules. Aether Remnant to follow. And will Astral Step to safety.
They've got to defend this pit, though.
Can they? I don't think so. I think this is just Beastcoast now.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Cuckoo just kind of forced out of the fight, did not get a chance to use his Doom. Surprised that T1 made that decision. Had they just backed out of the pit and maybe looked to fight, they had vision and they had those SD illusions running up high ground, but they ended up getting caught. Yeah, you kill Whisper, but was not able to secure a Doom onto the TB, and that is the key if you're trying to take him down.
And it kind of just walked in, and Sven's ult was already half duration, and Beastcoast knew that they were there.
It's one of those scenarios, like, it feels bad, and there's a lot of, like, you know, the Team Secret, I think, probably the best at this, but...
Yeah, we can see the lasso, and will end up being an easy kill for K1.
There's sometimes you just have to accept, like, we didn't get as much EV as we wanted out of our Sven ult, but let's not force it because it makes our play even, like, less EV. Like, take the tiny win instead of feeling like it's not enough.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of, like, what's the word for it? Over aggressiveness, I guess. Just like a little win and you're not happy with it. You get hungry for more. You're starving.
Yes. The hedonic treadmill.
You have to have discipline. Discipline is the hardest thing to master in Dota, I think.
Indeed.
Dire's middle tower.
Carl,
is
level
under
18
attack.
now, is working towards the Aghanim Scepter for himself, so that'll give him the double resonant pulse with the silence.
Yep. You can always get more or want less. Desire is just a contract you make with yourself. Be unhappy until you acquire what it is you're looking for. And in this case, both teams, they want to win.
Very badly.
Beastcoast.
Maybe two, but you can want to win too much. It's a negative. You see a smoke here from T1. Carl's already used both Astral Steps, just wants to find this Bat Rider. He'll do so, but the Global Silence with the Will-O-Wisp from the side, but Savage coming in. The Doom applied as well. They're putting everything on this Chris Luck. And he will go down.
Oh, wait, K1? Okay. No big
Burrow Strike. Oh, but there's the Heavenly Grace. Beautifully timed again. The K1's going to get turned on potentially. 23 Savage trying to TP out. Successful with the Burst Strike. It's a little bit too late. So away he goes. And this is exactly what we were talking about. T1 is very happy with that one kill. And if they can get out, they'll be satisfied. Cuckoo might have to sacrifice himself, though.
Again, Midas off cooldown. Not like this.
But again, T1, it's 2 for 2. You have a buyback from the Bet Rider. He forced it out. But there is still an Aegis for 2.5 minutes, so...
Yeah, I mean, this game right now for T1 has been saved because Savage has 2 teleports away. Like, if he's died those extra times, the gold lead is not in their possession, and you're terrified of the Terrorblade.
Oh, this would be a huge kill. Astral Step, Stormbolt, he's dead again. Dieback, 100 seconds with no Chris Luck.
All right, that should be enough time to grab a coffee, because Chris Luck, my man, you are... That is... I'd say big mistake number 3 in this game, and oof, that hurts. That hurts.
This is the Aegis, if they're able to get it. Schofield's still in the vicinity. Will-O-Wisp is always on, or always off cooldown, so just assume it's always up.
Dire's top tower is
obviously
under
Aegis
attack.
still in tow, so Roshan won't be a thing.
You can kind of see like the different drafts playing out. So like we said, Beastcoast, they have the initiative, right? And they've utilized it, and they're winning fights pretty consistently. But T1, like, they're taking everything Beastcoast gives them. You make a mistake against us, we will abuse it. And
okay, K1 actually uses a BKB. That's a little bit surprising considering the Aegis is almost out here, another minute or so. But he gets a Sunder onto Carl, which means Carl needs to get the hell out of here. But like you said, Bat Rider's still on the sideline. Savage is ready to go. Blinks in with the God Strength. That's going to be a long chase. They're just kiting the crap out of him now. But they are able to get Schofield. So T1 looking very good here. Takes out a Curry with that cleave. And Stinger will be the sacrifice as well. So they get something out of it, does T1. And but 23 Savage close to that DPS of Daedalus.
But these are all just, I don't want to take anything away from T1, right? Like, they're punishing. But these are just mistakes from Beastcoast. Your Bat Rider's dead. You know he has no buyback. T1 knows he has no buyback. What are you posturing for? Why are you even considering taking a team fight? You didn't have meta. Like, there's no scenario where this is going to end well for you.
We have Aghanim Scepter actually on Sven here. We have the Burrow Strike Epicenter again into the lasso. Looks like this is going to be the death of 23 Savage potentially, but he does get off a Stormbolt onto the high ground. He goes K1 able to get the Sunder off successfully back to full HP, and Carl just cleaning up the back line. Whitemon finally takes a tumble, but that is to the K1 right click. 5 stacks of Shadow Poison. No Sunder up for another 30 seconds as the chase is on. Beastcoast want to continue. Remember, Bat Rider is up. His long slumber. That death timer.
You can see like the difference in discipline with these teams, right? Oh, yeah. How many times now? T1, they've pushed their limits, but they don't go too far, right? You overextend that one time into the meta, and you're going to lose 3, lose 4, but they're bleeding a support here and there. That's all. Yeah, Cuckoo's annoyed. He's died with Midas off cooldown, but 23 Savage has been protected. And yeah, the Aghanims, to your point, after the nerf, we don't see it as much, but I actually love it here because he's going to have difficulties getting kited. This removes like the coddle factor, the TB Scotty. Now you just get up close and personal. Like, kudos to the bravery Beastcoast. It's 3-on-5 and they still take the fight. But now you've used every major cooldown.
Yeah, it's a lot to sacrifice. Like, that's a lot of cooldowns down. You have Heavenly Grace being... I mean, I have to say, Whitemon has played, even though it's an Omni Knight, he's dying a lot, his Heavenly Graces have been on point this game for sure.
Dire are scanning.
Carl just barely get away here, but... I mean, T1 have the advantage in terms of the net worth, and This is after giving up the first rush, mind you. I feel like this game would have been way different. They didn't. And Schofield deleted.
You cannot.
And Roche should be up relatively soon.
And Carl also excellent usage of the all chat voice lines. I think still an underrated talent. I don't really believe you can be an S tier mid player unless you are high enough level on your repertoire to have good lines to spam.
I'd be interested to see like the stats behind that.
That's exact.
Sure, it's there. As BKB now picked up onto bat.
And while I liked the Aether Lens initially, I do feel like Chris Luck perhaps has been playing as if he had a BKB, so it's good to know that he has one now to play with.
Right. Cuckoo gets Burrow Struck, but there's the Heavenly Grace again. And so he...
Aghanim's on Sand
23 Savage was going for a Daedalus initially and then pivoted to the Ags like we talked about.
Yeah.
Is actually going for Bloodthorn now instead of going for Daedalus. What are your thoughts on that? It's not an item you see very often.
So I was talking the other day about how you know the lack of tools to deal with evasion was annoying, but I meant from like a support perspective. This is like how cores do it. I really like it on Sven because it means you never have any kind of mana issues, but it's really nice. This sort of removes Terrorblade's ability to butterfly you, but more importantly, the talent. Like that's the most annoying thing about Terrorblade. Level 10, you get 16% evasion.
Yeah.
Like that's so annoying. And now post BKB, you're gonna have the ability to go toe to toe and prevent sun.
There's the Global Silence with the lasso into the epicenter. Burrow Strike. Is this gonna be enough to take out 23 Savage? He gets the Stormbolt off onto the high ground with the BKB activated. There's the Guardian Angel. He somehow lives throughout all of that. They used everything, and now T1 just resetting it here. Another nice Burrow Strike. That's the Aghanim Scepter, but already 2 dead for Beastcoast. And now
Savage
Doom applied to the Terrorblade, and he is just gonna get dropped like a rock. Double kill for Carl. Just amazing counter initiation from T1. I cannot believe 23 Savage lived.
Me neither.
Jeez.
They did literally everything. You know, there was the lasso, silence over top to cover it. We discussed that. But the Aghanims actually really heads up play. I want to see that again because he goes to the high ground.
Yeah. You can see Whitemon trying to get the Guardian or the Heavenly Grace. And he's like, please, just let me Heavenly Grace you, please.
Yeah. GA from the ground, but that was sick. And then, you know, Cuckoo does his job. He's like, that's the Terrorblade, right? Yep. And once you doom him,
Radiant's top tower is under
your
attack.
only option to stand and fight. And you can already see the SD illusions. They're the reason. Like, you don't need your Sven. You have the enemy carry playing for you.
Right.
Radiant's top tower.
Doom always one of those kind of wild card factors in games where if you're going against a one lineup DPSer like the Terrorblade is. I mean, Batrider's the mid, so that's not like a hard carry by any means. Doom definitely very good in that scenario. It's another beautiful Heavenly Grace taking off the last. So we're just seeing Chris Luck, like despite having all this farm, is again Schofield takes a tumble. Just so many honors.
But it's like
this battle.
There's no Terrorblade.
That's true.
What are you doing?
Yeah. Giving T1 a couple more kills, it seems. Looks like Carl has a shard for himself, so extra range.
It's good timing. He's spitting distance of level 25, which is when Void Spirit goes from good hero to absolutely broken.
The stun is absurd.
Yeah, I mean, 14% spell amp is good enough, considering, you know, you get the second charge on your Aghanims, or on your pulse from your Aghanims, plus the talent for damage. But yeah, Dissimulate stun is just, it's like game ending. It's so good.
For sure. It's got to be one of the best 25 talents in the game, no doubt.
It is. I don't think there is a better one. When you think about, you know, MVP is supposed to be like bad analogy. What's better? Like, what would possibly improve a skill more than giving it a stun? It didn't. You are increasing the stun duration of Dissimulate by an undefined number.
This is actually in contention, technically. Last word muting as a 25 talent.
I mean,
like in theory, but Voice going to get 25 way more often than silencers because we don't see core silencers.
That is pretty good. That is in contention.
So it depends on what your criteria is.
Yeah.
Like, are you comparing them like just 1-to-1 without context or with context?
That's
right?
a good point. Well, it's easier for Void Spirit to get it right because you're a core
for sure.
But yeah, that is pretty good. I've never seen that used in a game. I've never seen a silencer get 25.
It's only been out a week. Right? But yeah, Void Spirit's very good. I think they have to buff the other one.
Yeah. It is cool. It's an interesting concept, this idea that like level 25 talents are things to play for.
Yeah.
If you remember like before all the changes to how like Cataclysm functioned with Invoker, like I remember Miracle saying like on Invoker I play for 25.
Oh, Cuckoo jumps in with the BKB. They're trying to go for Roche, but they're just going to blow up the Coddle instead. The global signs to follow, but Whisper in the vicinity has the epicenter ready to go. K1's already popped his BKB. Whitemon, look at this stun to dissimulate. Carl wreaking so much havoc, and there's the Stormbolt with that ult from 23 Savage trying to go with the Doom on top of 4K1. Nothing you can do about that. 3 for 1. Make it 4. Triple kill for Carl. Into the Roach pit they go. Second Roach, that means Shard. We got a lot of good contenders for that since the cores already have them. And now Chris Luck might be next on the list. Although nobody's... Okay, Zephyr has made it here. Gets the Destruction off with the Soul Catcher. You can see the rest of the team is still going for Roche, so they feel pretty confident they can find this kill anyway. Oh, Lasso. 4 stacks already used from Zephyr. Chris Luck does end up falling in the end. So Aegis for 23 Savage. Wonder who took the Shard, because Sven already had it. He has it in his inventory. Okay, so we talked about Shadow Demons is, in theory, pretty good. Omni Knights is absolute garbage. We'll just ignore that.
Radiant's top tower
And Dooms is probably the
under
best
attack.
one left, right? Infernal Blade one's real good.
Yeah, I might.
He has
he has it already. So,
Okay.
Radiant's
there you go.
middle tower
1 out
is under
of 2
attack.
here. So I'm going to say it's Shadow Demons better than Omni
Radiant's
Knights.
Yes,
middle
definitely.
tower has fallen.
Omni Knights is really weird. It's like a 4-second duration, 10-second cooldown.
It's like a gift, you know, like it was some beta tester's birthday. He's like, guys, I love playing carry Omni Knight. Can we do something about that? And they're like,
Radiant's
sure.
bottom tower
But they made
has
it
fallen.
worse for carry Omni Knight, though. They made it like damage
Radiant's top
mitigation
tower
or
is under
something,
attack.
rather, right?
Yeah, it's
so
really
it
weird.
reduces
It's
damage
really
by
weird.
60%, which, like, in theory, it's good, but a lot of these just don't end up
But it's
in
like-
execution being very good.
Yeah, like the thing is, I'm picking it to be carry Omni, right? Like,
Radiant's top tower
but
has
or am I a
fallen.
support? Like, what am I supposed to blink onto Terrorblade and be like, ha,
Yeah.
I've reduced your damage?
Yeah. I don't know.
Either way,
It's a weird
26k gold lead. T1 very much in control of this game. Like the itemization, I think, from Savage has been sick. Like the Aghanim's definitely paying dividends. Now a Flicker, that's the dream.
Not quite as good as before, of course. If you get hit, you can't blink away. Essentially, it's just blink in place. But the Dispel is god tier for against Silence. Silencer just gets so screwed on some of these neutral items.
This game, to me, is all about Shadow Demon against Terrorblade, which has just been super effective. But really, the performance of Carl in this series in comparison to Chris Luck, you know, it just feels like there was a tier difference. And I don't know if that's the case, right? Like, these are two incredibly high-skilled players, but Carl's certainly outperforming today. And that is the real difference maker.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
When you
Radiant's
consider,
top
again,
tower is under
Tundra,
attack.
when they ran this bad against Void Spirit, like 9 just straight up took over the game. And that's what you have to do to win games back. He's on the high ground, isn't he?
Aether Remnant as well, and that is going to be an easy start to the fight for T1 and K1. Attempting to get out, pops that BKB. Now we'll try the man mode against 23 Savage, which is going to try to reset. There's the global signs. You can see the lasso on the side as well. They're actually doing a lot of damage, but that is just Aegis. Guardian Angel already expended for Whitemon. And now Sven. Now that he's back, he does not have God Strength. So using that Stormbolt to try to position himself to the other side of the fight, but Chris Luck dies again in the midst of things. Buys back into the game. We have Doom applied to the Terrorblade. Can they actually finish him off, though? Dissimulate to follow Cuckoo. Attempting to continue this chase here. There's a Centaur with 23 Savage in that Stormbolt. So close to the fountain. He actually just stands still, but there's a big Sunder right after the Doom wears off. And 23 Savage looks like he's going to go down, but it will be another trade. Terrorblade falls. Did have buyback for a moment, but must have bought something because he doesn't now. Interesting. Either way, T1 having to buy back on a couple of their heroes as well. Chris Luck, this is going to be a dieback if he's able to get taken out by both Whitemon and Carl. But I think they bit up a little bit too much here. Dissimulate to the other side. Zephyr still in the midst of things. Carl still has the Astral Step, so should be okay. Actually just turning the round. A little bit of miscommunication there. Not the greatest of layering. Schofield using the Ignis Fatus for cover, but he's taking 4 Shadow Poison stacks here. And Zephyr, now he's surrounded by Chris Luck. Looks like he's just going to get burned to the ground. So, Beastcoast technically hold. Costs a lot.
A lot. And Carl
is still here. There's a BKB, yeah.
He'll go back in. Yeah, you got to get the hell out of there. I love the Dagon build. Like,
oh, he's not stopping. Can't find the angle for the stun, but It's the silence with the simulate there. Astro Step Dagon. Another. All right, that's actually. Oh, he missed it.
Oh, no.
He missed it. There's the lasso. Oh, no. Carl, a little bit too cocky there. He just had to click.
And then Zephyr hits him with the well played. Oh, no.
We're going to need a replay of that one.
Carl, you should have stayed in the house, Carl.
Yeah, that's a lot of gold going the way of Chris Luck, no doubt. I mean, it's still a 21K net worth lead for T1, but Chris Luck will take it. All right, let's look at this. This to simulate here. There it is. And this is with a stun. He's perfect positioning. Just a little bit too early. I thought he actually clicked the wrong one. It was just too early.
Horn of the Realm.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Poor Carl.
Poor Carl.
Other than that, though, close to flawless game.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Because he has Timeless Relic, right? So the increased debuff duration. That doesn't work with Yules, does it?
Yeah.
Okay, so he just messed up.
Yeah, he just messed up.
Okay, I was trying to make an excuse.
Yeah, Yules is one of
Carl.
those things that it's always fixed. After the time where it was very OP.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And it's K1 and the rest of Beastcoast trying to take advantage of these timers here. 30 seconds left.
Middle tower
They still, they have a Terrorblade. End of the day, you make a couple mistakes, on buybacks or something, like he'll shred your base.
Are scanning.
16K net worth now for T1. You can see it's dwindling just a bit as a result of this one mistake. A little bit too cocky. Still only 15 seconds left on the death timer. 23 Savage able to take a ward here. They got some creeps as well. There's the initiation onto Zephyr. They really want this Shadow Demon. Don't believe he has a buyback either because he used it in the last fight. They got the Doom. Down goes, but yeah, the Doom on top of the TB, but they can't find anything more. They can't actually finish him off. 23 Savage looking for him, but it looks like it's not going to happen here. It's up the Stormbolt. All right, that was the Lincoln's applies. A missed Burrow Strike from Whisper. In the meantime, Chris Luck dying on the sideline as Carl has come back to play. Not going to bother to simulate this time. No timing issues.
It's another reason the Bloodthorn's actually pretty sick in this game is that it gives you the Lincoln's cancel.
Middle barracks are under
Sven has no other ability to grab an active item to cancel.
All right.
So you saw there, like he Bloodthorn into the stun and
yeah,
just Whisper was there. But either way, just nice hold. You really just can't fight T1 as 5 right now. It's very difficult unless you get catch. They did get Zephyr right off the start of the bat. He had BKB, but one of the downsides as well of the Bat plus Sand King combo, right? The early to mid game, incredible initiation. You always have the initiative. You're finding kills, but they just don't scale that well.
Yeah.
And it's Terrorblade that's designed to now deal all your damage, and he's getting doomed every fight.
Exactly. A one-man army, essentially. Oh, Carl jumps into the base. There's so much mobility with this shard. It's actually insane.
Yep.
23 Savage gets that God Strength off, and their target is Kata with the dagging. Carl takes him out. Burrow Strike, though, from Whisper. Immediate Heavenly Grace again from Whitemon. My goodness. You get replays of this guy over and over and over. But there, the initiation onto K1. He still has us under, but there's the silence to follow. Stormbolt as well. That's going to be a huge kill. No buyback, and that should do it. T1. Just on a different level these two games over
and
Beastcoast.
Shout out to Cuckoo and Ice Frog and neutral items. He's got the Psychic Push equipped from the headband, and he's canceling the Lincolns himself.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Radiant's middle
Good, clean stuff for T1. They're just going to go for the ancient, the old-fashioned way. 23 Savage, you can hear the epicenter being winded up. Not going for it. Yeah, they're just going to call it GG. So T1 end up taking out Beastcoast 2-0 in this lower brackets. That means T1 will be facing PSG LGD, which should be a very hype matchup.
That is wrong. Certainly hype. I actually can't wait for that one. But really, just well done. This team surprised a lot of people at the Annie Major. Perhaps not. They're very vocal fan base over in SEA. That man with the winning smile, huge this game. Well done by 23 Savage. And Carl, I think definitely the MVP.
Oh, yeah. Carl in the last two games on another level for sure. 26-3 this game.
I mean, so it's not
he did
quite.
Die.
It's not as good as this Coddle.
It's right? Not good, like 22-0. Yeah.
What was it? So total kill score?
48-3?
It's all right. Rookie now. We got to get those numbers up, Carl. In a 2-game series, if you don't have at least 50 kills, like what are you even doing? Right?
That's true. It wasn't a 50 bomb, and that third death was a big mistake, just crucial mistake that elongated the game by about 30 seconds approximately. But yeah, overall, T1 just showing out right now. They're looking, I mean, they had a little dip after the animator where they didn't look quite as good, but they're starting to look in form again.
Yeah,
so
this is a scary team. I would not want to play against them.
All right, well, let's see what the panel has to say about this 2-0 victory for T1.
Well, first of all, Kyle wouldn't be able to play against them. He doesn't have a team at the moment. But PSG will play against T1 because that will be the reward for T1 for winning this victory. We're going to talk about how T1 won over Beastcoast here today and hopefully get our hands on one of the winners as well to pick their brain a little bit, but all of that after this.